Welcome to the Undisputed podcast. I'm your host, Jenny Taft. This podcast is the full show from today's episode of Undisputed from start to finish. We've got a busy slate, so skip Shannon. Let's get to it. Welcome to Undisputed. We are live from Los Angeles. I'm Jenny Taft here with Skip Bayless, Shannon Sharpe.
Hi,
Good morning,
Jenny
guys.
How are you?
Great.
Good morning, Jenny.
You know,
doing?
Jenny,
I missed you.
We missed you around here.
I missed you, Jenny.
I didn't miss you at all.
I didn't miss you, Skip Bayless.
Jenny, I love Diet Mountain Dew. Do you love Diet Mountain Dew?
You know, I do.
You should try it sometimes because I got a lot of excess Diet Mountain Dew because my friend Shannon Sharpe just constantly gives me case after case after case after case after case of Diet Mountain Dew.
So how many cases am I down now?
You're down now 4 in the new year, which is just the playoff run, right?
Yeah, I get it back. O'Brien.
Yeah, oh, you get it
O'Brien
back?
will get it back.
And by the way, there's a 5th one pending on Braun hitting 80+% of his free throws. You might as well just give me that one right now. So
that one's not looking
I don't
good.
know how.
Well,
it happens.
right now we're resting. We got load management.
Oh, okay, good. Load management. Tom Brady had load management last night because he was carrying.
Don't do that.
He had to carry
Skip, don't do
a
it.
mediocre football
Skip,
team.
don't do that, Skip. Skip, don't do that. Don't do that, Skip. That's
We
so
have
we
got
go.
a ton of Super Bowl talk today, so let's just get right to it, shall we? Last night was all about defense. There were no touchdowns in the first 3 quarters, so let's jump to the 4. Tom Brady was a perfect 4 for 4 on a drive that included 2 big plays to Rob Gronkowski that set up the only touchdown of the game. On the Rams' next drive, Jared Goff could not connect with Brandon Cooks on a potential game-tying touchdown. Then on the next play, he threw an interception to give the Patriots the ball back. New England went on to win 13-3. Julian Edelman was named MVP, and Brady won his NFL record 6th ring. Let's take a listen to Brady after another championship.
It means a lot. There's been a lot of guys a part of this journey with this team, and it's just been so fun to be a part of it. And just do your best every day. And Coach makes it it's a challenging football environment. Its pressure's always on, and for moments like this, because you got to rise to the occasion.
Okay, Shannon, what happened last night?
Coach Belichick pulled out a virtuoso. This was probably his greatest coaching performance. Skip, I believe this was better than the one that he pulled off in 1990 as the defensive coordinator for the Giants when they did what they did to the Buffalo Bills. They held the They held the LA Rams to 3 points, Skip. They averaged 33 points a game. So he held them to 30 points less than what they normally get per game. And his game plan says we're going to take our best corner, Stephon Gilmore, and we're going to assign him to Brandon Cooks. We're going to double Robert Woods. Reynolds caught a few passes. The tight ends are nothing to, Skip, you all
Tight
last
ends caught 0. Go ahead.
Yeah, you still want them, still think they're better than Gronk?
I do. You got to throw it to them, but that's okay. No, that's a whole nother story.
Skip, the game plan was outstanding. And I don't want to get, I don't want to get too far into the schematic and what they did, but if you look at what they were doing, I was watching, the Patriots played 4 down linemen, and at times they played what we would call the underfront, Skip. They would walk Dante Hightower or they would walk Van Oe, put him on the line of scrimmage. And basically they daring you to throw the football because they say you're not going to run it. We're not going to allow you, Rams, to run the football. And they could not because everything is really set up off of their run. When they can run the football with Todd Gurley, I still believe, and I don't care what anybody says, Skip, this was the Super Bowl. And you're playing in the Super Bowl. Todd Gurley got 10 carries. Todd Gurley's hurt. Todd Gurley spent more time on the bike than he did on the field. But we'll discuss that a little later. And everything is set up off the run game. They want to go play action and throw the ball down the field. Well, if you can't run the football, play action is null and void. Jared Goff, now it's been reported that Sean McVay, the headset cuts off at 15 seconds. He's telling Jared Goff to play, but he's also telling him where to go with the football. Skip, that's fine and good. But at some point in time, he's going to have to read defenses because he went to the line of scrimmage a lot last night, and he had already predetermined that I'm throwing the go ball or I'm throwing this and I'm throwing that. And he didn't read the defenses because there were some openings that he could have had. But because he had already made his mind up where he wanted to go with the football, he was unable to come off that and go from 1 to 2 and sometimes maybe to 3. But give that what we saw last night was a virtuoso, Skip. the defense, and Coach Belichick, he always makes sure that he does not take the credit. He says, we have good players. And because they're not Aaron Donald, they don't have the name of an Aaron Donald, or they're not a Patrick Peterson, or the linebackers not Luke Kuechly or Bobby Wagner, sometimes they get lost up in the shuffle. But as a unit, they're where they're supposed to be. They're tremendous tacklers. When they get to a spot, the guy's going down. And they don't blow assignments. And when they do blow assignments, they work extremely hard like the Cooks play. They blew the assignment, Skip. Cooks was open from the jump. He throws his hand up. Goff doesn't see him.
That was the one time they did not play man.
Right.
Stephon Gilmore did not have him in man.
No.
It was zone, and they blew the zone.
Yeah. And to let you know how late he was with the ball, Devin McCourty, Skip, is the backside corner. Mm-hmm. He came from about
Jason McCourty.
Jason McCourty. He had him 30.
Oh, yeah. I think he had to run 18 yards.
Yes, he's the backside corner.
Right.
And he sees it. He's like, well, let me get on my high horses.
It hung up, man.
And he made an unbelievable play.
He did.
Because Brandon Cooks realized that I'm running out of real estate. Mm-hmm. I got to try to toe tap.
Yep.
And Jason made an unbelievable play on the ball. The offense was so predictable, Skip. Rams offense, first down. What do they do every first down, Skip?
Yep.
Run. Okay, so now it's 2nd and 10. Mm-hmm. Now they know you got to throw the ball.
Yep. Sure.
And they brought more pressure. And what we're starting to see from the Patriots is that they're starting to turn up the pressure. And Coach Belichick does not want to bring the safety out of the middle of the field. He hates it. But he says, you know what? I'm going to roll the dice. I'm going to roll the dice that I can take the safety out of the middle of the field, and you will not be able to read what I'm doing. And he was absolutely correct. So this was, I don't want to hear nothing today, Skip, about no Tom Brady. Tom Brady got 6 rings. But Tom Brady, they won this game in spite of Tom Brady.
Yeah. Really?
Yeah.
You're done?
I'm done.
So your only reference to the great Tom Brady came at the end, which was a negative reference.
Oh, you ain't seen that yet.
Here I go.
Okay.
I have tried to warn you all playoffs long. I tried to tell you again and again and again, there is one man in sports you do not bet against.
Bill Belichick.
And his name is Thomas Edward Patrick Brady. I warned you 3 times, and once, twice, 3 times a patsy were you because of the ultimate pat. Thomas Edward Patrick Brady. He did it to you again. When you least expected it, when you most were ready to bet against him, he turned into Michael Jordan in sheep's clothing. He turned right into that cold-blooded assassin,
really?
Disguised as the corny dad who lives next door.
Wow.
Tom Brady now has 6 rings thanks to 6 game-winning drives in the 4th quarter or overtime. That is impossibly, unbelievably, astonishingly all-time clutch. And he did it again last night up against his greatest degree of difficulty. I told you on Friday this would be his greatest challenge in a Super Bowl.
But he had his worst performance.
I think it's my turn. Wade Phillips has always had Tom Brady's number. Last we saw that in the AFC Championship game following the 2015 season in Denver, right?
Yes, correct.
Wade Phillips has had Tom Brady's number because Wade Phillips knows how to play Tom Brady, especially if he's got the firepower to play him. He has the best defensive line in football, and he has the best cornerback tandem to me in pro football between Talib and Marcus Peters. So Tom Brady was really up against it last night without a single deep threat. His deep threat from last year was a Ram last night, and you just talked about him, Brandon Cooks. His deep threat from most of the year was a kid named Josh Gordon, who's back in rehab, unfortunately for him, after 11 games as Brady's quote-unquote quasi-deep threat. Last night, Tom Brady beat the Los Angeles Rams without completing a single deep pass to his quasi-deep threats that he has. Chris Hogan caught 0 balls last night. Philip Dorsett, the one Patriot who can run a little bit, caught 0 balls on 0 targets last night. 0 targets. And what happened when you least expect it? Michael Jordan happened. All of a sudden, with the money on the table, with the stakes the highest, with the Super Bowl teetering at 3-3, with 9:43 left in the 4th quarter. 3-3. I think this is when the money's on the table. This is when it's time for somebody to take over the football game Lightning struck in the name of Thomas Edward Patrick Brady. 4 straight plays, 4 straight completions, the first 4 plays of that 5-play drive. And let's break them down, shall we? Because the first one comes, this was the breakout one. This is the one that broke the ice. This comes straight out of the I formation with Brady under center and broken down Gronk, who still can't run a lick, looks like a Frankenstein monster, fakes like he's going to block on Ebukam, and then he just sort of leaks out around him. And Brady throws a sweet little rainbow that goes for 18 yards, and all of a sudden, breakthrough. All of a sudden, you could just feel the momentum. Then for 3 straight plays, the Patriots come out. I got to credit Josh McDaniels with this because he's calling the plays. They come out with Rex Burkhead, 3 straight times, split out receiver. Rex Burkhead? What is this about? He split out wide as receiver. They flipped the formation the second time, but 3 times he split out wide. And what happens on the first one? The middle of the field is wide open, and one more option route by Julian Edelman, and boom, over the middle goes 13 yards to Julian Edelman. Some momentum is happening. So what does Wade do? He just says, you cannot have Edelman on the second play. Again, Burkhead split out wide. Edelman in the slot, and they just mug Edelman in the slot on the second play. 2 defenders just come up and just annihilate him and knock him down at the line of scrimmage. That should have happened more, but it didn't happen more because you look at little Julian and you think, he can't really hurt us. He can't run by anybody, but he got loose for 13 more yards. So, on the previous play. So, on this play, they knock him down, and what happens? Brady sees it, bing, and he goes outside and throws a strike to, who knew, to Rex Burkhead, his backup running back, for 7 more yards. Here we come. Burkhead split out wide again, and Gronk runs straight up the seam, and he really ran into triple coverage. There were 3 Rams within striking distance of the football. John Johnson's coming over from safety. Marcus Peters is trailing, along with Littleton, who's he was all over him for much of the route. And Brady threw the strike of the game. He threw the best throw of the game for the biggest gain of the whole night. It was the longest pass play of 29 yards. It was also the longest play of the night by either team, 29 yards. Nice catch, but an all-time great throw into actually sort of triple bracket coverage to Gronkowski down to the 2-yard line, and you know the rest of the story. Sony Michel takes it home, and basically that was the football game. Boom, 10-3, and that would have stood up. Now let's get back to the defensive side. I do give Bill Belichick credit. We're going to talk about how much credit here in a little bit. He had lost his fastball. And you know what? He owed Tom Brady last night for what happened a year ago on this stage against Philadelphia. And I'm going to remind you, Nick Foles is really good. Last night should have told you just how great Nick Foles is. And I don't throw around great very often, but he is great. And your Eagles, with walk it to them Wentz, are about to have to make a big mistake. They're going to try to franchise, then trade Nick Foles and keep Carson Wentz. Yeah. And what does it tell you that Nick Foles hung 41 points on Bill Belichick's defense? Of course, he doghoused and benched inexplicably and suspiciously Malcolm Butler last year.
But you know, Skip, they didn't get the pressure on Foles like they got on Jared Goff.
Okay.
Foles is a veteran.
Okay.
Goff is really inexperienced.
The Eagles have a really good offensive line, too, right?
Well, considering that the Rams voted the best offensive line this year in football.
So what did Bill Belichick do last night? Did he do anything shifty or sneaky or new or clever or outrageously creative? I saw nothing. I saw exactly the same defenses that I saw against the Chargers and the Chiefs. I saw mush rush. I saw 6 or 7 Patriots just sort of hang around the line of scrimmage. They did this against the Chargers.
Right.
Just hang around, and all of a sudden, 3 or 4 come and 3 or 4 drop.
Right.
You're not sure which 3 or 4, and it's hard to pick up, but it wasn't like he hadn't put it on tape before. So there was no shock value to this. I've been seeing the same defense 2 straight playoff games, and somehow the Rams could not block it.
Because what it forces you to do, Skip, is getting the offensive line. Like when you just normal rush guys, the line is able to stay on the same level. But when you do the mush, now they get on different levels, and now you're doing a Wex or ET where they crossing each other, and here come Hightower or here come Van Noy, scot-free.
Okay, so that unit registered a grand total of the 30th worst sacks in the regular season. So this was a terrible sack team that Belichick, I give you credit for this, brought to a boil in the 3 playoff games where they started slowly but surely to get pressure, culminating last night in lots of pressure on Jared Goff.
4 sacks.
Now, does Jared Goff, like most quarterbacks, need a run game to keep some of the heat off him, to give him some comfort zone? Sure he does. But what happened? Sean McVay had fallen in love with C.J. Anderson against my Dallas Cowboys, right? Remember that night? He became the lead dog, right?
Yes.
He became the man. He became their hottest back. I'm sorry, I don't believe that Todd Gurley is hurt. He looked fine to me when he tried.
No explosions.
Okay. Well, I don't know. There was that one play in the fourth quarter where he got loose for one. It was right before the Brady lightning drive.
Well, that was the thing. Because
he got loose for 18 yards, and they had a holding call that was suspicious.
Well, that was one he got loose for 13 yards.
Yeah.
But here's the thing, Skip. On the one that he got loose on the right side for like 18 yards, had he been healthy, that's 30 plus. He didn't have the explosion, Skip. It's not there. It's going to come out.
But again, C.J. Anderson, blessing, curse. He was a blessing for a while. He came off his couch on December 16th, having been cut by 3 teams this year.
Yes.
And they really utilized him to blow my Cowboys off the field, especially in the first half. They had 170 yards rushing in the first half, 273 for the game. Last night, they couldn't run a lick.
Couldn't run it.
Right?
Nope.
Couldn't run it. So all of a sudden, what I told you would happen on Friday, and by the way, I should throw this in, I was dead wrong about the score. I thought it would take 30-some points.
Everybody was dead wrong about the score.
Well, I was dead wrong about that. I did not see 13-3 coming.
No.
But what I did see coming, what I told you on Friday, is that this game would boil down to a close game in the fourth quarter in which you would sit back and say, well, the Patriots have Brady, and the Rams are stuck with Jared Goff. I said he'd make one mistake, and he finally did. I'm going to give him some credit because he did throw those 2 balls to Brandon Cooks that could have been caught.
You're right.
The first one hung up. I agree he should have put a little more mustard on it. It would have been a touchdown. It's as wide open a throw as you're going to have. The second one did hit Brandon Cooks right in the hands.
Yeah.
I just think you have to catch that ball, right?
Yeah.
Okay? So I'll give him those 2 throws. But for me, most of the night, Jared Goff looked like the stage was too big for him. To your point, again, what did I say last week? He's an extension of Sean McVay. He's almost like a puppet on the field.
Yes.
He's a talented puppet,
Right.
but he's got puppet qualities.
Right.
So on that stage, his eyes kept getting bigger and bigger and emptier, and you're right. He was going to first option like crazy, and first option often was covered.
Right.
I promise you there were open receivers running.
Yeah.
I promise you, if you would put Brady in the position of Jared Goff, he would have started
Absolutely.
to pick apart that defense.
Yes.
Because we saw what Mahomes finally started doing in the fourth quarter. He had the ball for 3 minutes in Kansas City in the AFC Championship game and scored 24 points in 3 minutes.
Right.
We have seen this defense get torched again and again and again.
Right.
I thought this was in large part about Jared Goff just going blind last night. And you know what happens on that stage because you've been on it 3 times. Once you go blind, once the pressure gets to you, you're just cooked. You're done.
Yeah.
And again, he made a few good throws, but mostly he did not look like himself,
No.
right?
And the thing was, Skip, is that they were doing, and here's the thing. When they intercepted Brady early in the game, Skip, he had an opportunity, and on third down, first of all, I thought they should have called timeout. Because if you notice, Skip, they were snapping the ball with 1 and 2 seconds. Take a timeout. You take 2 seconds. You take 2 timeouts into the half. They don't carry over. You don't get 5 to start the second half. You see what Tom Brady did. You don't think they will call no time? I don't like that. Timeout, timeout. They will use them. That's where
Doesn't bother them a bit. Yeah. They just go right on like it's no big deal.
Especially in the first half.
Yep.
Now, maybe in the second half, they come back to bite you if you burn your timeouts like that. But in the first half, use those timeouts. But if that ball hadn't have got tipped, Devin McCourty was going to get a pick 6. The ball got tipped early on the first time they had the ball, Skip.
Sure, I know it. I know it exactly. It's going to be
a pick 6.
I don't know if he's going to score, but he's going to go a long way.
He's going the other way because he only had like 25 yards to go.
And he also hit Hightower right in the hands. I do not expect Dante Hightower to catch that ball, but somebody could have caught that ball. Yeah. Somebody else would have caught it.
Remember, Skip, now Zeus, he picked Patrick Mahomes.
He did.
On a better, he got a better interception because that ball was high and behind him and he picked it.
Yep.
But Skip, the moment got too big for Jared Goff. But I want to go back to Tom Brady. You love QBR, right? That's a scale they measure, Jenny, from 0 to 100. Tom Brady had a 25 QBR. Skip, is that good?
What did the other guy have?
No, Skip. I thought it was my turn. I thought it was my turn. You need to add
26. Don't short him.
He's 25.8. But anyway. Okay.
Jared Goff had a 13.
Hold on, Skip.
So he doubled Jared Goff in a low-scoring defensive knockdown, drag-out battle.
Okay. 25. He had a 25 QBR, which isn't good. He was 3 of 12 on third down, which isn't good.
No.
He was 60%. And Skip, you saw
Jared
him.
Goff was 3 of 13. So keep it in perspective of what was going on.
Are we putting Jared Goff in Tom Brady's category?
Well, a lot of people did last week.
Ain't nobody did.
A whole lot of people picked the Rams, and a whole lot of the odds makers said the Rams are just the better football team.
They foolish. And, and you and I, we discussed that about the point spread. But here's the thing, though, Skip. You keep telling me, I'm trying to figure out how somehow you want to heap this Olympian or Mount Olympus praise on Brady. He played his worst game in a Super Bowl since his very first Super Bowl.
I told you it was going to be his greatest challenge, and it was his greatest achievement to pull that off.
And it was his worst game. They won in spite of him.
In spite of him? Shannon, did you not watch? Maybe your TV broke.
I watched the interception. I watched the fumble.
Of the game. He had, to me, that was the greatest drive of his career, given the degree of difficulty, given the challenge, given Wade Phillips, given the defensive front, given Talib and Peters. It was greatness on display. He finally said, enough of this. It sort of reminded, what's that?
That's what he said? Enough of this, huh?
Yeah. Well, did you see him? 4 straight passes for 67 yards when you thought he couldn't do anything? That's outrageously great.
I didn't think he couldn't do anything.
Did he won the game?
No,
he won the game.
No. Look, he has 6 rings, but this isn't about him.
And by the way,
this is about that virtuoso that Coach Belichick's defense.
The game should have been over in the first half. Brady did throw a shocking interception on his first attempt of the game, which ended the first drive that looked like it was going to go boom, 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 7 points, right? And again, the Rams won the toss and deferred, and I thought, you're in trouble now. That's going to be 7-0. And then Gronkowski hooks a field goal left, and then it gets to 4th and 1 late in the first half, and Brady throws one that I think it would have hit Gronk in the hands, but it got tipped at the line of scrimmage. So it's just canceled points after points after points. It easily could have been if they had stayed on the course that they were against the Chargers, especially against the Chargers, some against the Chiefs. It would have been 20-0 at half, and you would have turned your TV off and said, well, they did it again.
Well, I'm sure a lot of people might have turned the TV off because we're going to talk about that, because that wasn't the game that everybody expected. I know I don't think that was the game that you expected. Now, you expected the Patriots to win, but I thought everybody thought it was going to be a shootout. At least, let's not say, so what? It's not 33-30 or 38-31. But the fewest points in a Super Bowl combined?
Yeah, it was the Patriots' widest margin of victory.
That's what's so weird about it.
How weird is that?
Very.
So you know what my bottom line takeaway was from last night? Justice prevailed. The Rams did not deserve to win that game.
Man, stop it.
They did not deserve to be in the game. The Saints should have been there, and then Brady would have beaten Breeze.
Exactly.
Just like I predicted before the season started.
We're going to need more time to talk
You just wanted New Orleans so you could have 2 picks in the
Especially
Super
that
Bowl.
one. Okay, we have a lot more to break down from this one. And next up, did Julian Edelman deserve to win the Super Bowl MVP last night? A lot of discussion there. Next.
No mercy.
Hey guys, Jenny Taft here with a quick word from one of our sponsors, Simply Safe. No one should feel unsafe at home, period. Fear has no place in a place like home. That's been Simply Safe's mission from day one. You may have seen their commercial about it during the big game this year. If you didn't, you can find it online. What makes Simply Safe so great? Simply Safe blankets your whole home with protection. Around-the-clock professional monitoring makes sure police are on the way when you need them. Some security systems can be an eyesore, but Simply Safe security sensors are tiny, blending in with your home so you won't notice them. The Verge calls Simply Safe the best home security, and it's a Wirecutter top pick. As more than 3 million Simply Safe customers already know, it feels good to fear less. So protect your home today. You'll get free shipping on any system order. Just visit simplysafe.com/undisputed. That's simplysafe.com/undisputed to protect your home and family today. simplysafe.com/undisputed. Now, back to the show.
No mercy.
Well, Julian Edelman was a big reason why the Patriots won their 6th Super Bowl title last night. The Rams had no answer for him, who was named MVP and finished with 10 catches for 141 yards. He also became the first wide receiver to be named MVP since 2009. Let's take a listen to Edelman after the game.
My head was down and just trying to go out and try to win ball games and help the team. It's pretty surreal. And tough times don't last, tough people do. So I preach that, and I guess you got to live to it. There's a lot of plays by a lot of other guys. Defense was unreal, holding that offense to 3 points. It's pretty crazy. They should be the MVP, the whole D.
All right, Shannon, did Edelman deserve to win MVP?
No. When the defense is so dominant, especially in that game, Skip, if you go back and look at over history, you go back to 2000, the Ravens, the defensive player won because 7 points, and they gave that on a kick return. You go to Tampa playing the Raiders, Dexter Jackson. You go back to the Bears, the 85 Bears against New England, Richard Dent. When you have a dominating performance on one side of the ball, someone from that side of the ball needs to be the MVP. Stephon Gilmore was unreal. He had an interception, a forced fumble, 5 tackles, 3 pass defense. Okay, if you want to go a little further up, Zeus Hightower was unbelievable. 2 sacks, pass breakup. Someone from that side of the ball, Skip, when you hold a team to 30 points fewer than what they normally get in that setting, somebody from that side of the ball needs to win the MVP. We haven't seen we can go back to Malcolm Smith when the Broncos lost to Seattle. Skip, when you get a performance like that, that's the best against the best, and especially when the offenses are so high-powered. And the Rams it looked like I don't know who's the worst offense in football, but that's what they made the Rams look like. 260 total yards is what they gave up. They gave up 62 yards rushing on 18 carries.
Yep.
Jared Goff was 50%. An interception, 4 sacks. No, Skip. And this is not to take away from Julian Edelman because he was spectacular. But when the defense is so dominating like the Pats defense was, it's hard for me to see how you skip over someone on that side of the ball and give it to Julian Edelman. Now, there's a host of other reasons I think he shouldn't have got the award, but we'll talk about that later after I hear your point.
My point is, I can't give it to Stephon Gilmore. I agree with your big picture point. It was the kind of game that leaned toward a defensive MVP, except it was so collective on defense that it's hard for me to say, oh, Stephon Gilmore completely changed the night, because Brandon Cooks, despite 2 balls he could have caught, 1 he should have caught, still caught 8 for 120 yards.
We don't count those. That last drive, Skip, when they tried to get that's ticky-tack. That was ticky-tack. There was nothing meaningful about that, Skip.
Okay.
And when you talk about Dexter Jackson, I covered that Raider team, so obviously I was at that Super Bowl. Every time I looked up, Dexter Jackson was running the other way with the football, right?
A lot of guys were running the other way.
I know. Well, you're right.
D. Brooks got into the action.
It was just outrageously. It was just wrong because they knew every play that Bill Callahan would call it, right?
And even the corner had 2 picks, and ran 1 back for a touchdown.
Yeah. So I look at the defensive chart for the Patriots. Jonathan Jones he led them with 6 tackles, 8 total. It was 6 unassisted. Gilmore had 5 tackles. I don't know. It's just like it's like a mush rush of guys, all of them cogs in the grand scheme that kept the Rams to 3 points. Yet, in the end, we both agreed Jared Goff, he deserved to be the un-MVP because he contributed a lot to this.
He helped.
So this is why I don't love receivers winning Super Bowl MVP. I go back to the Deion Branch Super Bowl. This is the 3rd one that Brady won, when Belichick and Brady won, obviously. He caught 11 balls for 133 yards. Pretty big game, but Brady threw for 236 and 2 touchdowns. So I don't know. To me, it's really close between quarterback and receiver because Brady threw those balls that Deion Branch caught.
Right.
And then I go back to the classic one, the Jerry Rice game. This is against Cincinnati in the Super Bowl after the '88 season. And Jerry Rice had an enormous day. He caught 11 balls for 215. but Joe Montana threw for 357, 2 touchdowns, no interceptions, including the touchdown with
John Taylor.
Yeah, to John Taylor with 34 seconds left. So he throws 10 yards to John Taylor for the game winner, a walk-off. We'd never seen that in a Super Bowl before.
200 jet X.
Right? Okay. And I'm like, did you guys vote too early or what happened? Because
I believe that's what happened with the Dexter Jackson one too, Skip, because you remember the cornerback ended up having 2 interceptions and ran the last one back for a tub.
Okay. And then 2 Super Bowls I covered featuring my Dallas Cowboys against the Pittsburgh Steelers, 10 and 13. Lynn Swann was just sensational.
Yes.
But especially in 10. He caught 4 balls for 161 yards. Trust me, I know this is way before most of your time.
The acrobatic.
They were all-time circus catches where you're just saying, I've never seen that before, and then I've never seen that before. How did he do that?
That one on the sideline was like he was just levitating.
How are you doing this? There was one in the middle of the field where I don't even know how he caught it.
Yep.
I don't know. So it was clear to me he was the MVP.
Right.
And Terry Bradshaw, our man Terry, didn't have a great game that day. He's 9 of 19 for 209. So you could say, well, okay, let's give it to the receiver.
Okay.
But in general, look, do I love little Jules? Yes, I do. I've always loved him because he just plays his guts out every play. He's got extreme quickness, which started to come back in the playoffs. I couldn't see it through the regular season. Obviously, he's coming off big knee reconstruction, missed the first 4 games because of PEDs. We're going to talk about that in just a second. But the point is that he plays with a chip on his shoulder, but can he gash you? He can paper cut you all over the place.
Yeah.
Just slashes, little slashes all over your hands.
Yeah.
But can he gash you deep? Can he burn you deep? No. It's just not what he's made out of. Does he have Lynn Swann? No, he doesn't have Lynn Swann.
He's a chain mover.
Yeah, he's a chain mover. Did he make any acrobatic circus catches last night? No. I'm sorry. And most of his damage was done in the first half when he caught 7 balls for 93 yards. In the second half, he caught 3 balls for 48. Still not bad. Right. He caught the middle ball on the game-winning drive. But who caught the 2 big passes on the game-winning drive? Right. Frankenstein did. I don't know how, but he did. He mustered it up and reached down, and he caught 2 huge balls.
And Skip, they were playing man coverage, and they were doubling Robert Woods. But Stephon Gilmore had a tough job because Brandon Cooks can fly.
Yeah.
He can run. He ran, 4.32 coming out of college, and he still has that deep speed.
Well,
so he had him all over the field for the most part.
Stephon knows exactly how he runs because they went against each other in practice all last year.
All the time.
So he had that edge.
And so, Skip, for me, I just think when you have and you mentioned it last week when you were talking about Aaron Donald versus Von Miller.
Yep.
When the defense dominates, like the Broncos in Super Bowl 50 did to Cam,
there's one, like Von Miller.
Yeah.
You just say, look at that.
Yes.
Okay.
He took the game. He's leaping off my TV screen.
Right. And you remember, I know you remember this in I think it was 77. The Cowboys against the Broncos, Harvey Martin and Randy White.
Oh, Randy White.
Randy White.
Yeah,
what was it, 27-7? I mean, they dominated the game. I mean, it wasn't even close.
By the way, my friend Randy Hughes was safety, and he thought he deserved it because he had a forced fumble and something else happened.
And you remember Chuck Howley won the MVP on a losing squad.
Team. That's early vote. Early vote. Sorry about that. In this case, again, I'm always going to lean to the quarterback. I thought Brady should win it. Again,
with that performance?
With that drive?
With that performance?
What was the drive of the night? What won the game? 4 for 4 for 67 yards.
Hold on, Skip.
Was that the most valuable performance of the game?
No, hold on. So you want a guy to get the MVP with the interceptions, no touchdowns, and a fumble, and 60% completion.
1 interception.
That's what I said. 1 interception.
Yeah.
He fumbled 2 now.
They got it back.
Hold on, but did he fumble?
Well, it got knocked out of his hands.
No, Skip.
Okay, did he lose it? No, he didn't.
Skip, baby, I want to hear you say he fumbled.
He fumbled.
Okay, thank you.
I want to hear you say that was an incredible drive.
That was.
It was. It was the greatest drive of his career. It won the football game.
He owed the D.
He won the football game.
He owed the defense.
He owed the defense owed him
last
year.
No.
Right?
Oh, no,
he
no,
owed him.
No.
Now, back to Julian Edelman. Baseball now has a rule instituted in 2014 in which if you test positive for performance-enhancing drugs, you are done for the playoffs. You cannot play in the playoffs. So they would not have even had Julian Edelman last night if you had the baseball rules, right?
That changed some things.
Okay. Would you? I'm good with that.
I would too.
Yeah. The NFLPA would fight that like crazy because they'd say there's too many tainted tests, too many false positives. Okay, well, that's what they would fight.
Exactly. Yep. And everybody, and the guys like, I didn't do this, and I'm going to fight it, and come to find out, don't nobody fight it, and everybody's done what they say they didn't do. Because as meticulous as guys are now, Skip, you know this. They know what they're putting into their body. Everybody has these gurus, or they get their meal prepped, and they go to this tank, and they get, this. I guess.
In this case, he didn't fight very hard. He didn't say tainted sample, or he just shrugged it off and said,
They got me.
They got me.
Yeah. I mean, NFL, you got to do something. I mean, if you're trying to send them, look, I guess steroids really matter in baseball because the records are so hallowed and so prestigious. It's not the same, Skip, because you don't know if somebody told you, well, what is 73,240? I don't know. Well, that's the number probably Drew Brees has passed for. It's not like, the 755 that Hank Aaron held or 5. They're not the numbers in football are not the same.
So Edelman was not. He could not have won eligible for any of the regular season awards, right?
You can't go to the Pro Bowl, and you can't win any awards, so I guess once they start over, once the Super Bowl, that starts it over.
Yeah. Just me, bottom line, it's a quarterback's game. The quarterback has to make the decisions and throw the football that he caught. Edelman did have one big drop on a third down that hit him right in the hands. He thought Marcus Peters had held him.
Yeah.
Remember this? But he did have a drop. So you said, I want you to say that Brady had an interception and a fumble. So I said it. Edelman had a drop.
He got flashed.
Yeah.
A tough catch.
Yeah, it was a tough catch. It just sort of
Stephon Gilmore, they robbed him.
Really?
Yeah.
They robbed him?
Robbed him.
What did he do exactly?
Pick.
But it was just a terrible idea throw, right? He just threw it up for grabs.
Okay.
Yeah.
But how many times?
It was a terrible underthrow.
Hold on. Now, see, you remember now, Eli may had a terrible throw, and Asante Samuels, he dropped it. He dropped it. Remember, it was an easier play than that because he's just standing on the sideline, the ball just falling out the sky in his arms, and he drops it.
Would Asante, if they had won, been the MVP of the game?
No, not in that situation, no, Skip. But I didn't think Asante had a game like what we saw from Stephon. Stephon had a pick. He had a forced fumble, the 5 tackles, the 3 pass breakups. No, he didn't have that type of game. I mean, look at Larry Brown. Come on, Skip. He had 2 picks.
I was there. I know Larry.
Come on now.
Well, that's what it was. Neil O'Donnell made him the MVP of the game. He had 2. Were they picked 6?
No, they didn't they didn't run him back, but he just had 2.
Yeah.
And one, they were driving down to the tie the game, I think, and he iced it for him with that pick. And then he went to the Raiders and got exposed because he didn't have that vaunted pass rush. And
well, he was just a guy to me.
Yeah, he was a guy.
Yeah.
Yeah. But I'll go with Stephon Gilmore.
I'll go with Tom Brady, thank you.
No, Skip, stop it, Skip.
I'll just go with him.
With a 25 QBR?
No, 30. No, 26.
Skip, stop it.
Yeah, he run it up.
No, we don't do that round up. No,
yeah, we do. Point 8, it means you go to 26.
When you do that?
Yeah. Huh?
So let me ask you a question. If you got 26 cents, do you got 30 cents or you got 26?
Good point.
I know Jared Goff had 13 cents.
Yeah, exactly.
Right?
Jared, look, there's no, we can agree on this. He was horrible.
Yeah, I think that one we unfortunately can agree on. And just last thing on Edelman, his odds were 25-1 to win that MVP according to Vegas.
Somebody must have won some money.
You know,
I know a lot of people who lost a lot of money last year.
Yeah, well, somebody came in and dropped $1.5 million.
The guy they call Better
X,
who
on the
won like $3 or $4 million off the Eagles last year. Yeah. Because he must have had inside information that Belichick was going to.
And he bet the World Series.
Yeah. No mercy.
If you listened to Skip and didn't bet against Tom Brady, you'd probably be in a good place because let's talk about Brady and his coach. Tom Brady and Bill Belichick made their 9th Super Bowl appearance together last night, and they each won their record 6th ring. Belichick's defense shut down the high-powered Rams offense, and Brady once again led a game-winning drive in the 4th quarter. Shannon, who deserves more credit for the win last night? You going with the QB or the coach?
The Oracle. Skip, he was bad.
The Oracle?
Yes. The guru. The greatest defensive mind. The greatest head coach to ever walk a sideline in NFL history. The one, I don't know if he has a middle name, but his name is Billy Belichick. Yes, you call him Bill.
I've never heard called him Billy. That's okay. You can call him whatever you want. I've called him a lot of names before.
Hoodie. You can call him Hoodie if you like. Skip, is the defense. They held the Rams to 260 total yards. That's 161 yards below their average. They held them to 3 points. That's 30 points below their average. And Skip, Brady was average. He scored 13 points. That's 14 below his average. He had a 25 QBR. 3 points. No, this is not your turn. It's not your turn. It's my turn. It's my turn. Thank you. Appreciate that, Jenny. Thank you for stepping in there because Skip was about to interrupt me again. Brady had 3 points in 3 quarters. Now, if the defense is not doing, now, you said he lost his fastball. Now, if he had lost his fastball and Brady had only given him 3 points, what would have happened? The game would have been over. The fourth quarter wouldn't have mattered. Good. Skip, I know what you try to do. See, what Skip tries to do.
I don't try to do anything. I just spit facts.
Okay, well, this is what you try to spit. Skip tried to spit. If you have one good drive, it'll erase all the bad you had done throughout the entirety of the game.
What if it was the drive?
But it wasn't.
It wasn't?
It wasn't.
Did it not win the game?
Oh, was the game over at that point?
Yeah.
No, it was
over.
not. They still had time.
Oh.
And Jared Goff did a goofball thing.
Okay. Well, good.
But Skip, let's be real. This was about Coach Belichick last night. I don't know how you get around that fact. Tom Brady played his worst Super Bowl since his first Super Bowl, which is 17 years apart. You know that. I know that.
I don't know that.
Skip, the man had at least he threw a touchdown, which was the only touchdown he threw in that playoffs. He didn't throw a touchdown. He had a pick. He fumbled a 25 QBR and only completed 60%. And 11 of his 23 completions went to Edelman. Let that sink in. So nobody else really did anything. And Gronk, like I said.
Thank you for pointing that out. I appreciate that.
Right.
Yeah.
So
I agree with you.
I'm sorry. This is all about Coach Belichick. This one's for Bill. Yep.
William Stephen Belichick.
William Stevens.
If you want the full name, since we like full names around here.
William Stephen Belichick the first. This is on his resume.
But what about Thomas Edward Patrick Brady, Skip? I mean,
What about it?
Let me start off by saying that for once, I'm going to give Bill Belichick, whatever his name is, Stephen or whatever his name
William
is,
Stephen Belichick the first.
I'm going to give Bill Belichick a lot of credit.
How much of a lot? A lot of a parcel of land. I need an amount.
He owed Tom Brady last night, and he paid him back with not a virtuoso performance, but a really solid performance by his defense.
When's the last time you saw 3 points in the Super Bowl, Skip?
Well, I'm about to get
You
to
covered
all
that game.
Yep. So the point is, I'm going to go all the way up to 49% of the credit for Bill Belichick.
Oh, my goodness. I can't with you, Skip.
Tom Brady deserves 51% because in the end, this is a quarterback's game, and he did what he's always done in 6 Super Bowls, a fourth quarter game-winning drive for the go-ahead touchdown that would have stood up as the game-winning touchdown, obviously, at 10-3. So the point is that Bill Belichick owed Brady. I think he got exposed last year, and he has lost his fastball.
He has not.
Okay, but I can't go to virtuoso when you just called Jared Goff's performance a goofball performance, because it was.
Yeah, that's what you do. When you have these virtuosos, because look what the Denver Broncos did to Cam, who was the MVP.
So I'm going to remind you that the guru, the oracle, the greatest coach ever, just this football season, allowed 376 yards passing to Blake Bortles at Jacksonville. The guru, the oracle, allowed Patrick Mahomes in his first year as a starter to score 31 points in Foxborough in the second half. He allowed the same Patrick Mahomes, having the ball for only 3 minutes of the fourth quarter of the AFC Championship game, to score 24 more points. And last night, it was more about the Rams' ineptitude. And we got to throw Sean McVay in there, too, because you just got to, you got to adjust.
He got to out-coach.
He front runs on everybody. Once you get off hot on people, you can just keep calling your stuff, and it keeps working. But if you don't have the run game, and you're still young quarterback, and I'm not completely sold on him. I was fine with him going first overall, but he's not going to be a top-tier quarterback. He doesn't have that in him. He doesn't have the makeup.
Where is that? Sean McVay says, we're not afraid of failure, and we captured it. Where was all the risk last night? Where was all those plays that you got in your bag that you pull out normally? Where was that?
I don't know. I didn't see anything.
I didn't see anything either.
No,
I saw running to the line, third down, throw it Goff, okay, fourth down punt.
I was just convinced that on special teams, somewhere, somehow, they would try something. They tried nothing.
No, you're right.
They tried to get something early on, but they got a delay of the game.
I don't know what it was. I'm not sure they were trying to, they just moved and tried to get him to jump.
Right.
So, I'm going to tell you again that last year was the all-time travesty, and this is the guy you're trying to put back on the mountaintop. He gave up 41 points to Nick Foles last year. That is outrageous. I don't know how he gets a pass for that, but he made up in part for it last night. But he wouldn't have made up for it because they might still be out there at 3-3 if Tom Brady hadn't said enough of this.
Yeah. Did you know this? Yeah, and I'm sure our people, our fans at home, and we got millions of fans around the world that's watching us, Skip Bayless. Do you know in 3 of the last 4 Super Bowls, Coach Belichick's defense has pitched a shutout in the fourth quarter? And in the only game in which he didn't pitch a shutout in the fourth quarter, they lost. Tom Brady threw a record-setting 506 total yards. It didn't matter because Coach Belichick's defense didn't hold up. Now,
wait a second. Let's put it in perspective. Let's go back to the Seattle Super Bowl. They're down 24-14 in the fourth quarter,
yes,
right?
Yes.
And what does Brady do? 124 yards and 2 touchdowns to win the game.
How many points did they score in the fourth quarter? That would be a big fat goose egg. Okay?
Seattle.
Seattle scored against the Falcons. What did they score in the fourth quarter? A big fat goose egg.
What did they score in the first half?
Whoa.
28?
Whoa. Hold on. Skip.
Wow.
Hold on.
Interesting.
What last night? I said in 3 of the last 4 Super Bowls in which the Patriots have played, the defense has given up a big fat goose egg in the fourth quarter.
And meanwhile, what was the quarterback doing?
It didn't matter.
Against Atlanta, he threw for 246 in the fourth quarter in overtime.
But it
246.
But think about what he threw for last year.
Yeah.
He threw for 506.
505, and it was the all-time record in any playoff.
And guess what happened?
Got
The
canceled.
defense didn't pitch a goose egg. They lost. Give Belichick.
Didn't pitch a goose egg. It got pitched on for 41 points.
I'm talking about the fourth quarter. I'm talking about the fourth quarter.
Okay.
So I need you to give William, Steven, Belichick the first his credit.
Let's talk about the fourth quarter because you keep acting like that the fourth quarter is all that matters, right?
That's what you do.
Oh, well, last night, that's all that mattered to me because,
Yeah, exactly.
well, who ate at your restaurant last night?
I ain't let the Rams in there. After that performance, I closed the shop.
Well,
Not available?
They lost.
I know. I would let them losers
Wasn't
in my
even
shop.
serving. Wow.
Who got the prime table right in the middle of the room?
Sean McVay and
Number
Jared
12,
Goff.
number 12.
Sean McVay too.
No, they didn't. So all you keep ignoring the fact that in the fourth quarter, Tom Brady had his greatest drive ever. So it's a quarterback's game. He was the most valuable player because he completed 4 straight passes when you least expected it. And remember, he had no deep threat, and he had about half of Gronkowski.
But Skip, he hasn't had the deep threat since Josh Gordon was suspended, or he stepped away for whatever reason.
So he tried 2 deep balls last night to one Chris Hogan, who looks like at this stage of his career, he can't outrun Hulk Hogan. Am I right about that? He can't run. Okay, so that's all you got, but you got to try to keep him honest with 2 deep balls to a guy who can't run.
Right.
So he catches no balls in 4 targets, and Philip Dorsett, the only guy who can run, doesn't even get a target because Tom probably thought he just couldn't get open.
No, he had 6 targets. Hogan had 6 targets.
6 targets, okay, but he caught no balls.
No balls, 0.
Okay, but Philip Dorsett had 0 targets.
0 targets.
Okay, so the 2 guys who can quote-unquote run caught no footballs last night.
That is correct.
And the little slot receiver who's got great underneath quickness on option routes, he did the bulk of the damage.
Yes.
And then when it really mattered, Frankenstein got loose twice. And I don't know, that's just greatness to me because Gronk has greatness written all over him. There's not much left. He's on his last legs. But when it really mattered, Rob Gronkowski got free for 2 big balls that changed the whole football game.
Yeah.
And they were thrown by number 12.
Yeah.
So number 12 still gets 51% of the credit.
No, he doesn't.
Because his job is the hardest.
No.
Well, who had the higher degree of difficulty? Tom Brady going against that front with Aaron Donald and Sue and the 2 corners.
But you said that the defense was terrible to begin with. That's what you told me.
When?
The Rams.
Well, they
weren't a top 10 defense.
I know,
okay.
But they started to play.
So they overrated.
Yeah. No, they underachieved. They weren't overrated. They just underachieved all year until the playoffs. And then they started to say, maybe it's time to play.
Beating your
and
Cowboys
by the
is
way,
not an achievement.
Well, speaking of the Rams defense, that guy you keep telling me who's the game changer, Aaron Donald, did he play last night?
He played.
I don't even remember him. I'm sorry, I don't remember Aaron Donald.
They did a great
Well, every
job.
time somebody tells me how great Aaron Donald is against my Cowboys, I watched 2 games Aaron Donald played against my Cowboys, and when it was over, I was thinking, Was Aaron Donald hurt tonight?
Well, then why'd
I don't know.
Then why'd you want to throw a flag when he threw Tom Brady down?
Well, how'd you know I wanted to?
Why did you want a flag?
That was the only play he made all night. The ball is gone, and he just takes Brady and just throws him down.
He did throw him down.
Way to go. Yeah, he did.
What you want to do, lay it down?
I'm going to throw that flag.
No.
Yeah.
What you want to lay it down?
Brady's not going to get protected by anybody.
Don't do that, Skip.
Yeah.
But you know this was all about Coach Belichick.
It was not all
This
about.
was his great.
I gave him 49% of
No,
the credit.
I'm giving him 99% of the credit.
How can you call it a virtuoso performance?
3 points.
Did he do anything that surprised you on defense? No.
Hold on. It's not.
There was nothing clever, nothing innovative, nothing new. I saw nothing new. I didn't see a wrinkle where I said, way to go, Bill.
The last time.
They were playing defense just the way they played against the Chargers and the Chiefs. Exactly.
3 points in the Super Bowl.
Okay. Well,
that's what they gave up.
That's
When's the last
a lot
time?
about Jared Goff and a lot about Sean McVay.
Whoa. Yeah. You want to score 13, so don't be over there beating the drum like you in the parade now.
Well,
hold up.
They should have scored 20 in the
I don't know
first
what they
half.
should have. I know what they did score.
Yep. Well, it was the biggest margin of victory in any Super Bowl that Tom Brady has ever played.
And Coach
so you got to give him credit for that, right?
And Coach Belichick did what? 3 points.
Yeah,
now, Coach Belichick really should, if he'd had a good quarterback in all them games, because he held one team to 17, a team to 21, and he took an L. He took an L. He shouldn't take an L. You hold somebody to 17.
How do you explain that 41 last year? How did he get a pass?
Aberration.
Aberration?
Yeah.
Aberration
The same way.
at Blake Bortles. Aberration.
How do you score Tom Brady scoring 14 points in the Super Bowl? That's what he scored against the Giants.
Yeah.
And another 17.
And you know what? It should have stood up as the dub.
Oh, now that should stand up.
Well, should it not?
No.
Well, the luckiest play in the history of the Super Bowl canceled it out.
No,
Well, it did.
No.
Yeah, Spike Lee did a documentary.
I mean, so in other words, Coach Belichick and Malcolm Butler has saved Tom Brady's legacy.
Okay.
Huh?
Well,
and 2 more losses.
Who can throw for 124 against the Legion of Boom in the fourth quarter? Who saw that coming?
The defense that hold Russell Wilson to 0 points.
Shannon, you got to admit it. Tom Brady is the greatest clutch performer in the history of sports.
That's not what the debate was.
Sports.
That was
well,
not the
he
debate.
did it again.
That was not the debate.
So that's 6 Super Bowls with 6 game-winning drives. Who can do that?
That was
Only in Hollywood could you make that up.
That wasn't the
That's why he
debate.
deserves 51%.
No, he doesn't deserve it because he got 6 for 6.
You know what? If you keep going, I just talked myself into he deserves 60 to 40. No, seriously.
Whoever you want to give the credit to.
No, he does not deserve no 60.
Last night, we watched Brady and Belichick both get ring number 6, but a lot of people were saying that last night's Super Bowl was boring. Does Skip and Shannon agree? Find out what they have to say next.
No mercy.
One thing that was missing from last night's Super Bowl was offense. There were no touchdowns in the first 3 quarters, and these 16 combined points were the fewest in Super Bowl history. It was also the first Patriots Super Bowl win by more than 1 score. So Shannon, on a scale of 1 to 10, how entertaining to you was the Super Bowl? 1 to 10.
About as entertaining as if I'm going teeth clean, root canal. I'm going to be nice. I ain't going to put it on a scale of 1 to 10. I'm going to put it on a scale of 1 to 5, a 2.
Out of 5.
2 out of 5?
2.
Well, that actually means it was good.
Yeah, I was gonna say,
No.
that doesn't help.
3 was good. 4, but 5 was off the charts. Skip Bayless, you know this was not entertaining. Okay, look, your team won, so you're gonna, it was so great. Oh, Tom Brady, Tom Brady. Stop it. 14 punts, the Rams, first 8 possessions. Punt.
Yeah.
Okay, field goal, interception, missed field goal. Really, Skip Bayless? And then the Patriots were no better. They had 5 punts, a pick, and I'm supposed to be entertained by that. These are supposed to be the best the NFL has to offer. The best from the AFC, the best for the NFC. Now, they've changed the rules to make it conducive so you can go out there and score points because that's what everybody loves. More
points.
When you watch, if you look at the top 50 rated shows this year on television, 47, 48 of them NFL games. And why? The highest rated game this year was what, Skip? A game with the Cowboys in it, or the highest Monday night game was that game.
It's always a game with the Cowboys in it.
Rams versus the Chiefs. And why was that, Skip?
Incredible.
Points.
54 to 51.
Yeah, that's what people want to see, points. Not this. I didn't want to see Tennessee playing the Bengals. Really, Skip Bayless? This was
I haven't even spoken yet.
No, you haven't.
Well, why are you crushing me for what I haven't spoken?
Because 135 million people watching. And what about the people around the world? Oh, they're going to see, this was soccer. This is what this was, soccer.
See a lot of that.
Like 0-0?
Yeah. What am I supposed to do with this, Skip? I was like, got me all off my game because I was like, oh, this is going to be a high-scoring game.
You act like this went to penalty kicks, right?
It did. They should have put me into the penalty box for having to watch this.
Really?
Yes.
You know, I got to call you on this because really, the Brady hate is just oozing today.
No. I'm not even disappointed, Skip. You know why I'm not disappointed?
You echo the sentiments of millions of people
No, I'm not
who are just sick and tired of the Patriots. So when the Patriots survived and won that game, it's like, that was the worst game I've ever watched.
No, Skip. You know what? I slept really well last night. Because normally when they win, if they win the Super Bowl, because especially that one against Seattle, I didn't sleep a wink. Now, the other one from Houston, I was flying back on the plane, so I couldn't sleep. And I still couldn't sleep. Even after I laid my head down on the plane, I'm trying to think. I can't believe you lost this. But, Skip, I'm not even disappointed because you scored 13 points. I'm like, they scored 13 points. This was the best chance, really, that someone had an opportunity to take Tom Brady. Because if you look at the way he was playing in the playoffs, you're like, the dude has been 340, 2 touchdowns. You're like, no. And then he get out there, he throws no touchdowns. He throws an interception. And then the Rams, all they're doing is punting the ball all over the field. And you thought this was entertaining?
My turn. Thank you very much.
All right, 1 through 10.
Jenny, I don't know. I got to get a new TV. Mine must be broken. Maybe it flipped onto some other channel and I started watching some weird game that it wasn't the Super Bowl, but the Super Bowl I watched last night was one of the most entertaining Super Bowls I've ever watched. And on a scale of 1 to 10, I'm going to go to 9.5 on the entertainment scale. I'm sorry. It was captivating. It was gripping. It was edge of seat. When it was over, I had sweated through both of my underarms of my T-shirt. I was wet. I had to take it off, change my T-shirt before I did the rest of my tweets.
Well, somebody interrupted my normally scheduled programming because I didn't see what you saw.
I saw a game that was gripping because it was so shocking as it unfolded. I expected 37-35, and I kept waiting for the dam to break and a shootout to break out, and it never happened.
And the Beavers kept putting logs in your dam, and so nothing broke.
And yet, I'm on edge of the seat all the way to Greg the Leg Zerline's last field goal that missed with 8 seconds left because if he makes it, it goes to an onside kick, and I'm going to be on the floor.
And what's going to happen with an onside kick with 8 seconds?
Yeah, it was so...
I'll ask you the same question. What's going to happen with 7 seconds left at Miami when it's 33-28 Patriots, and you're 69 yards away? The impossible happened. The Miami Miracle happened to Bill Belichick.
Because here's the thing.
To Bill, the guru, the oracle, gave up some crazy play that went for 69 yards.
Skip.
Okay,
and hold on.
By the way, I got to throw this in. Tom Brady said after the game he did not count that as a loss this year. So just for the record, that didn't count against Tom Brady.
It did on his resume.
He played his best game of the year.
I don't care, but Skip. Through 3 quarters, the score was
I don't care.
6.
Well, let me count the ways this was entertaining because I'll take this over 54-51 on Monday Night Football, November 19th. Yes, I will, because it starts off with run, Patriots, where it looks like they're going to run the Rams off the field. And all of a sudden, my guy, Tom Brady, makes a terrible decision. He gets completely fooled by the same guy who got away with winning the NFC Championship, Roby Coleman. And he's playing man, and he thought it was zone. And it's a shocking interception on Brady's first attempt of the game.
You're right.
And I could hear the NFL world celebrating all the way to West Los Angeles. I could hear it in my little room that I watch my games in because people were cheering all over the world. Tom Brady had thrown an early interception. I could hear him cheering again when Gronkowski, one of the most accurate and trustable kickers in pro football history, next to Vinatieri, he missed his first field goal. He hooked it left. He barely made
What's entertaining about a missed field goal?
Are you kidding me? He missed it.
Yeah.
He missed it. I fell on the floor. I rolled over 3 times. I said, what is he doing? He hooked it. And by the way, Jim Nance jinxed him on the telecast by saying, oh, they're 31 of 31 in this building, kickers are this year, and all of a sudden he blows it. Okay. And then he barely made his next one to make it 3-0. It snuck in inside the left upright. And then the Patriots at the end of the half, they have another chance to cash in and go up 10-0, and it's 4th and inches. And they throw it to Gronkowski, and it gets tipped at the line of scrimmage, and usually they convert that in their sleep, and I'm falling on the floor again. So I am highly entertained for all the wrong reasons in the first half, and it's only 3-0. And what happens to start the second half? Patrick Chung breaks his arm. He is the quarterback of the defense. He calls signals for the defense and organizes the secondary. He's gone. And I'm saying, I tweeted immediately, well, that's big advantage Sean McVay. They're going to find a soft spot, and they almost did, to Brandon Cooks in the back of the end zone. And then here came the lightning strike from Mount Olympus. Tom Brady, when you least expected it, goes boom, 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 boom. 4 straight completions, 2 to Gronkowski, and all of a sudden, he did it again. Another fourth quarter game-winning drive.
Jen, I don't know if you noticed, but you see what he did? He picked out 3 drives.
Well, I'm still going.
Those were the most entertaining.
Most entertaining.
How about the 2 throws to Brandon Cooks that should have been touchdowns, could have been touchdowns? Seriously, they're wildly entertaining.
What are you going to remember about this game? Are you going to remember about the helmet catch? Are you going to remember the Malcolm Butler play? What's the memorable play from this game, Skip?
When you least expected it, Jared Goff, you went to Jared, right? You went to Jared. He throws it up for grabs to Stephon Gilmore.
What's the memorable play?
Everything.
The
memorable play? The play of the game was the play of Tom Brady's career, the throw to Gronkowski down to the 2. It's the play it's the longest play of the night. So that's easy. That's signature.
Where's the Philly special? Where's the Philly special?
Wait. That was the Atlanta special right there.
Where's the Philly special?
I'm going to remember it the rest of my born days.
Skip,
no, come on.
Where's the Philly special?
29 yards.
Where's the David Tyree catch? Where's the Malcolm Butler?
These are all edge-of-seat plays. And then how about this? Brady has worn out the defensive front because you just can't get to Brady. They put as much heat on him. They only sacked him one time the whole night.
Knocked him down a few
and all of a
times,
sudden, they're worn out. They're gagging, gasping. And all of a sudden, the Patriots hit him with 2 26-yard runs to go down and get the icing field goal, right?
Oh, so what role did Brady play in that?
No, but he'd
already had him backed up.
Wait, did it stand up with 10-3? It stood up as the final score? Yes, it would have.
Whoa. Oh, did Brady get that interception?
And then I'm thinking with 1:12 left, it came down to, do you go for it or do you kick the field goal?
You kick the field goal. Okay, that's a no-brainer.
Okay, well, I tweeted that immediately, but I thought Belichick just might go for it because it was just inches. It was like 3 inches, right?
That'd have been a goofball play.
Well, it was a 40-some-yard field goal, and he kicked it, and he'd already missed one, and I am down on my knees hoping he makes it.
Skip, there's nothing exciting about a missed field goal.
This is gripping.
There's nothing exciting.
My
Skip,
God.
I'm just trying. There's nothing signature from this game.
I just told you Tom Brady had the signature play of his career.
It
was like Kyrie's shot that won the championship for LeBron. That's what I'll always remember.
We talk about LeBron. Yeah. LeBron tweeted them. If this was a Gronkowski, if Gronkowski had missed like the Giants Buffalo game. Yeah. If he had missed the field goal, okay, that's breathtaking. But missing the field goal in the first quarter is not breathtaking.
Well, it took my breath.
Where's the signature plays? I get it. It's the Super Bowl.
I just gave you 15 plays that were.
How about this here?
They were shocking.
How about this here? If this game played in Seattle, who's talking about it? No, not Seattle. If this game is played in September or October, who's talking about it in January?
Well, it was on the Super Bowl stage.
That's my point.
Everybody thought it was going to be in the 30s.
It don't matter what it is. No. It doesn't matter. I'm asking.
Who could turn this off? Who would turn this off and say, I can't watch this? Wait a second. Going into the fourth quarter, how many millions of people said, this is boring, I'm going to turn it off? It's 3-3.
It's the Super Bowl.
It's 3-3.
Skip, it's the Super Bowl.
And the GOAT did it again. The GOAT goated them.
Skip, it's the Super Bowl. If the game happens in September, October,
you know what?
Is anybody talking about it?
If Brandon Cooks had caught one of those balls and somehow the Rams had hung on and beaten Brady and Belichick, you'd be over there celebrating the whole day, and you would have given this game a 10. That's what it boils down to. A 10. You would have said it was a 10.
No, you can't get
You might have said it was 100.
You can't get no 10 with no 14 punts.
Well, if the right team wins, you can.
No, you can't. No. That ain't how I do it. No. My emotions are not like that.
Yeah.
They're not that transparent.
Really?
No.
Well, I guess I'm easily amused.
You are.
Here. I don't know.
Easily.
Boy, I just
Easily.
I thought it was.
Get it. I know my home team. Miss America, that's what they call them, Skip.
Do they?
Yeah, that's what they call them.
I like offense. Call me crazy. I mean,
Yeah.
One touchdown.
There's a reason why they changed all the rules for offense to score.
I'm
So
that
you just
person.
turned it off in the fourth quarter?
No, Skip, it's the
interesting.
super. Let me ask you a question. I guarantee you, had this game been a regular season game, I guarantee you people turning it off.
I don't think they would have because they would wait for Brady to lose.
No, stop it, Skip.
Huh?
Guess what? I ain't got to watch it. I can turn on to watch the highlights on Fox.
Huh.
Oh, he lost. I'm not watching this in the regular season.
But
Come
in
on.
this game, the lowlights were highlights.
You know good and well, Skip,
They
baby.
were.
You know good and well. Now
I
stop
loved it. I was wildly
It's the
entertained.
Super Bowl.
I just
Ripping,
wanted
edge of
more
seat.
when it got to the
I
fourth
wanted
quarter.
more.
I wanted more. I wanted more. It
And
ended.
just like that halftime show.
And I feel like the Rams.
Tell me you like that too.
I thought it was awful.
Okay,
It
thank
was
you.
just flat from start
Terrible.
to finish.
We need a whole couple more
I
minutes.
mean, what we
to
gonna do
talk
with
about
that?
I don't know.
Travis Scott and Big Boy. One song apiece.
What?
Okay. It could have been better.
I
It could have
walk
been
my
better.
dogs.
I
You
tweeted
did not
it
walk
at
your
one
dog.
point.
I walked my dogs and said, come on, y'all need to go potty.
At
Either
one point,
way.
I did tweet that I was fearful that the final score would be Maroon 5, New England 3. Right?
Okay, the Rams would have liked a bit more time to Sean McVay, and the Rams choke under the pressure. Was that the problem? We're going to discuss with Greg Jennings and maybe a little more of that at halftime next.
No mercy.
Well, the Patriots are Super Bowl champs again, and we're joined by Fox NFL analyst Greg Jennings. Good morning.
Good morning, great
Good
morning.
to have you with us.
Yes.
All right. Did the Patriots win it last night, or did the Rams lose it?
The Patriots definitely won the game. When you look at the way the game went and what they were able to do off defensively to the offense of the Los Angeles Rams, they completely won the game. They controlled the line of scrimmage. They controlled the down and distance. It was almost as though they've made the Rams do what they wanted them to do offensively when their defense was on the football field. And I haven't seen that in a long time. And it was impressive because everyone coming into this game was trying to figure out, okay, how can the Patriots eliminate the playmaking ability of the Los Angeles Rams with all the weapons that they have at their disposal? Well, they didn't even have to do anything because Todd Gurley was a non-factor as far as even just getting opportunities. But I like what Bill Belichick did. And Skip, you can't tell me now that their defense, his defense, didn't come through, because if it were not for his defense.
What did it do differently this time that it did against the Chargers and the Chiefs?
No. I'm not saying he did anything differently. I'm saying it was more effective against this offense. And the reason why it was more effective, when you look at specifically against the Rams versus the Chiefs, because when you look at Patrick Mahomes, his ability to escape and extend plays and be off script, that's what hurt the Patriots. They got the same amount of pressure on Patrick Mahomes. He was just able to extend plays and make plays outside the pocket, where Jared Goff got outside the pocket and he couldn't get anybody down the field. He couldn't hit anybody. He couldn't escape. He couldn't escape.
for huge
His speed wasn't. He's not as fast as a Patrick Mahomes. But I like the game plan. I like their approach. They didn't do anything special. The offensive line of the Rams were terrible.
And they were voted best offensive line. At the
And they
NFL
were
honors, they
all
were the best offensive line in
together
football.
all year, and they played as though they couldn't identify simple blitz pickups, and they weren't stunting, doing anything creative that they had never seen. I was just blown away by the offensive line play, but the Patriots won the game.
Pats won.
Once again, on to Shannon. No Brady mention over there. Go
Oh,
ahead.
yeah. Patriots defense.
Not one.
They were spectacular.
Not one
Figured you
mention.
were
Go ahead.
Yeah,
Next.
we nothing to
I
mention.
just wanted to note that for the record.
Yeah.
Not one mention. Your turn.
Yeah, I ain't gonna mention them either. The defense was unbelievable. The defense was unbelievable because when you hold the number 2 team as far as points, 33 points a game, you hold them to 3. Number 2 yardage, 421 yards a game, they got 260, 161. You hold them to 3 points, 260 yards, and their first 8 possessions went like this: punt, 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 punt. That's 6. Punt, punt. What was Tom Brady doing in that? Oh, let me guess. Tom Brady was holding on to the ball. He was playing keep away. Wrong answer.
Right answer in the first half. Patriots 20 minutes to Rams 10 minutes. Right answer.
Hold on.
Way to go.
How many points?
20 to 10.
How many points
You're
did the
wrong
Patriots?
again.
How many points?
I'm sorry.
How many points?
I'm sorry.
How many points
How
did the
about for the
Patriots
game?
have? How many?
33 to 27.
How many points?
Keep away.
How many points
Keep
did the
away.
Patriots have?
They won the game. All they needed was 10, and Tom Brady scored 10.
Skip.
They won.
At that point,
was his Super Bowl.
at the half,
Yeah.
had the game ended, the game would have been over. They would have won 3-0.
Okay.
It's Coach Belichick's
Tell me when
defense.
it's my turn.
It's not your turn just yet.
Okay.
Because all you want to do is heap praise on Brady.
No, I don't.
But this is
I
not the-
don't.
Yes,
I'm
you
going to
do.
actually answer Jenny's
No, you
question.
don't. No,
I
you
got
don't.
an answer. I actually did some homework.
The Patriots
I
won
actually
the
have some
game
insight, some perception over
because William Stephen Belichick the
What?
first
Oh, nice. Good.
did an unbelievable job.
Sounds like William Stephen Baldwin.
Justice Stevenson of the Supreme Court. No, Skip. It's time for us to give the defense because, look, it's hard when you don't have – see, when you got Tom Brady on your side of the ball, it's kind of like when we had John or we had TD. No matter what the defense did, they weren't getting any credit. It was John. Because if you remember in the Super Bowl, that first Super Bowl we won.
Oh, so this is about the credit you didn't
No,
get.
no.
Okay, that's what it sounded like to me.
No, Skip,
the tight end deserved more credit.
Skip, you know.
That's why Edelman should have been the MVP.
Skip,
Go ahead.
You know, whatever have the dominant side, whatever have the big name players, and it's normally the credit, or it's normally the quarterback,
Yep.
they receive the lion's share of the credit,
Yes.
even
They
though
should.
the But I'm saying those.
Except for that Super Bowl where you made Aaron Rodgers. You made him with that touchdown.
Appreciate it. Appreciate it.
But Skip, the Patriots won this, and it started with the defense. Now, if you want a little sprinkle a little something on there for Brady, say, well, Brady, you did okay.
You did okay.
You can do that.
You did okay. That's
okay.
funny. You're a comedian.
Nope.
You should take your show on the road, your Brady hate. It would play well in America because I think it is rampant right now.
No, it's not.
It's infecting everyone from sea to shining sea this morning. They hate the fact that the Patriots did it again. But my takeaway from this game was the Patriots proved that they were the better team last night. That they were just better.
Yeah, they won.
In every way, shape, or form. In that game, they were better. I thought it could have been, maybe even should have been 20-0 at halftime. But I'm going to give the Rams 2 breaks here because they deserve 2 breaks on plays I thought they got jobbed on, and they were 2 big plays in this game. The first one happened just before the Brady lightning strike drive from Mount Olympus that we talked about last time. It's 1st and 10 Rams at the 43, and it looks like Goff and McVay are starting to draw a bead on that very torchable Belichick defense. And Todd Gurley gets loose for 13 yards, and I thought, uh-oh, here they come. So it looks like it's going to be 1st and 10 at the New England 44, and what happens?
Holding on.
Flag goes up on my screen, and I'm like, what? And John Sullivan right there is called for holding. I don't see it. Yeah. That's phantom to me because that play happens every time there's a ball snapped in the National Football League.
Yep.
And I'm saying, holding how? On the center. Did he grab?
No.
Was that?
Had no impact
did
on
that
the play
spring
whatsoever.
him? No,
had
it
no
didn't
impact
spring
on the
him.
play
It had
whatsoever.
no impact. And I'm saying, that's a phantom hold. And it wrecked that drive because all of a sudden they go backwards. And it goes sack, incomplete deep with no chance. And then they hand it off on 3rd and 22 to Gurley, who just gets stood up at the line of scrimmage for -1. And they punt. Well, if you don't have a hold on that play, which they shouldn't have had, I don't know. It's still 3-3 at that point. So do they go score? Do they get a field goal? Maybe, probably.
Probably not.
I don't know. And then the other play is the second throw to Brandon Cooks down on the goal line. Not the first one where he's wide open, the one he's covered by Gilmore, and I think Deron Harmon's getting his hand.
Yeah.
I thought Stephon Gilmore reached in.
He
and
armbarred
it was he
armbarred.
You know,
He did.
it's a foul.
Yes.
It's if I'm on this play, I'm going to throw a flag on this play, and I know it's a big one in the game. You can't see it from that angle as well.
Yeah.
From the,
He armbarred him on the inside.
Here you go. He's reaching in on, and I know the ball's almost there, but I thought it was a foul. And all of a sudden it's going to be 1st and goal at the whatever, maybe the 1-yard line, right?
Yeah.
Okay, that's going to be a big play in that game because on the next play.
That's a spot foul.
Yeah, that's a spot foul. Because on the next play, Deron Harmon blitzes right in Goff's face, and he just throws it up for grabs, and Gilmore intercepts it, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so I'm going to give the Rams those 2 plays, and if they want to commiserate over that, if they want to
No, we ain't commiserating.
cry
over
in their
nothing.
beer today, that's okay. We? Oh, you're now?
No, I say no. I say we're not giving. I said we, us. up here. We're not giving them anything.
Oh, really?
They had opportunities.
Okay. So, in the end, this game was won by number 12 of the New England Patriots. Well, it just was.
Thank you, Greg. Thank you, Greg.
Well, come on. Did he not?
Come on,
it was
Skip.
arguably the greatest drive of his career under the circumstances. He's got nobody. You know this is a wide receiver. Did he have a Greg Jennings last night? No. He didn't have a Josh Gordon. He didn't have his Brandon Cooks from last year. Obviously, he's a Ram.
So that's better than the Tuck Rule game when he had to drive in the snow and Vinatieri had to kick that field goal?
Yes, under the
What about the first Super Bowl?
The degree of difficulty here?
Was that the first Super Bowl?
Well, what's his he's throwing to Edelman coming off complete knee reconstruction, a slot receiver who can't get deep on anybody, and he's throwing to the Frankenstein monster that has become Rob Gronkowski, who very possibly was playing in his last game last night.
Okay,
That's it?
What about
do you know what the degree of difficulty? Do you know how good the front is of the Los Angeles Rams?
You told me
do you know
they
how
were
good those
good.
two. Hey, those two corners, is there a better cornerback tandem in football than those two? And Roby Coleman's really good.
I see what you're trying to do.
I'm not trying to do anything.
He's trying to hype up the Rams defense to make it seem like Brady
Everybody hyped him.
He climbed this high mountain, Mount Olympus, and he was able to overcome despite
again,
despite
when
this
you
great
least expected it, but I'm sitting there saying he's going to do it again because he always does this. He flipped the Michael Jordan switch. And it just broke like that. It was like lightning because he goes 4 for 4. The first 4 plays of that drive, he goes complete, 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 complete. And he's picking different players, different receivers in different circumstances, even though the last 3 formations feature Rex Burkhead at wide out. That's what he's gashing you with. Rex Burkhead split out wide. Are you kidding me?
Well, they tried to fool him because
Burkhead?
Because normally when you split the running back out and just leave the corner over there, that's telling you a zone. But what they were doing, they were trying to fool him because they had 58 Little John, the Mike backer. He was playing Gronk man to man, and what they did, they held Peters just long enough because he's supposed to overlap. He's supposed to play 1 to 2.
Are you talking about on the big throw to Gronkowski?
On the big throw to Gronk. But see what happened, Skip, on the play before, remember, they threw it to Burkhead.
They did.
And so now that's in Peters' mind. They might throw it to him again.
So how smart was that?
I just can't drift and
smart
overlap.
Was that? Hey, listen, the throw of the game, maybe the greatest throw of Tom Brady's
Oh, my
career.
goodness, stop
well,
it,
he has
Skip.
no signature throws in his career. I told you the other day. He goes 29 yards into what looked like triple coverage. No, I'm serious. It's the greatest throw.
You told me last year was his best throw. The one to walk off to Brandon Cooks when he threw to the Houston Texans in the corner of the end zone with 6 seconds.
This is the Super Bowl.
It was a completion.
This is the Super Bowl.
Look, there was nothing, and was
that not the
Brady
play of the
is
night?
Definitely the GOAT. He's the best quarterback to play this game. But last night, there was nothing special that Tom Brady did.
Did you see that?
Nothing.
There was zero special that Tom Brady
Even
did.
Jenny looking like it wasn't nothing special, Shannon.
You know what's true greatness? When you are stymied for 3 quarters, you're frustrated for 3 quarters, and all of a sudden you just say,
I agree.
No,
That is-
we're going to do this, and I'm going to figure out how to crack your code. And he cracked it with Gronk faking a block, and he throws a sweet little rainbow to Gronk, and all of a sudden the Rams are on their heels. Then they split out Burkhead, and he hits Edelman over the middle. Then they come and mug Edelman with a double team at the line of scrimmage and knock him down, and he goes to Burkhead.
So are you saying they offensively had a better game than they did defensively?
They needed 1 strike, 1 touchdown drive, right? And it's
because of what their defense was doing.
But think about this. He's won 6 rings with 6 game-winning drives in the fourth quarter. That's impossibly great. That's unheard of great. And he did it again, right on cue.
I completely understand that. But
Would they have won without that drive? No.
Offensively, were they better than defensively last night?
Well, you have to go win the game. The quarterback has to go win the game. Am I right about that?
You said
wait a second. The degree of difficulty. Who is Tom Brady's nemesis? It's that guy, Wade Phillips. Do you remember what happened in the AFC Championship game at Denver?
Yep.
And that day he had a QBR of 37. He had 26 last night, but he got sacked 5 times and he threw 2 picks in that game. So Wade bedevils Tom Brady. And all of a sudden Brady said, no, I got this. I'm going to figure it out, and I'm going to go Gronk, Edelman, Burkhead, Gronk. What? Do you realize who he's throwing to?
Yeah, okay, if you don't mind me
Come on.
asking, Skip, if you don't mind
That
me
is
asking.
sheer greatness against that defense.
You told
what
me
had he done against that defense all night? Nothing.
But let me ask you a question.
Right?
You said Tom Brady was stymied for 3 quarters.
Yeah.
If Coach Belichick's defense doesn't stymie the Rams, what good is that drive?
Who has the higher degree of difficulty? Brady against Wade Phillips or Belichick against Jared Goff. It's not even close. The degree of difficulty is for Brady. He's got no weapons. Who's got the weapons?
Brady, Brady against Wade Phillips or Jared Goff against Belichick?
I completely disagree with that.
I totally disagree.
When you look at an offense who's put up 32 points a game and you hold them to 3 points and you're saying that
Jared Goff was deer in headlights from the start last night.
Thank you.
No, you're making my point. That's the point of the game. That's easy.
Why was he deer in headlights?
He folded under Super Bowl pressure. It happens every year.
He wasn't deer in headlight against your Cowboys. He wasn't deer in headlight against the Rams.
You know what? He probably would have been against my Cowboys. The Rams ran for 170 yards in the first half.
What about your defense?
C.J. Anderson
Your
did
defense,
it.
your defense, you had a top 5 defense, scoring defense, and rush defense.
Can I ask you this? Were you impressed with the Patriots' defense last night?
I gave him 49% of the credit. Again, that's the Greg. But that's the same defense that gave up 24 to Patrick Mahomes in the fourth quarter of the AFC Championship
And shut him out in the
you
first
like
half.
That?
You're talking about the National Football League MVP?
And offensive player of the year.
Wait. I'm talking about the guy Brady beat twice this year.
Yeah.
You're right.
That same Patrick Mahomes, he beat him twice. He threw for 182 in the fourth quarter to beat him in Foxborough.
Yep.
And then he completed 3 3rd-and-10s in overtime to keep him off the field and beat him with 44 minutes to 21 minutes.
I agree. In those games, even if we look at the AFC Championship game, the drive that he made in that game with the third down.
If Brady doesn't crack the code last night, shockingly, you guys were probably, you sat back and said, oh, no, he just did it again when you least expected it.
I picked the Pats to win.
Okay.
I picked the Pats to win.
Were you rooting for him in that drive? Did you say, wow, that was really good?
No, I thought the defense won the game for him.
Oh, so you wanted to end up in a 3-all tie? Is that what you wanted?
No, absolutely not.
The defense won the game
Yes.
when Jared Goff was, what'd you call him, like goofball?
Yeah,
you called him a goofball.
Yeah, he was.
He's a goofball.
That's what Coach Belichick's
How hard
defense
is
do.
it to defend a goofball?
That's what Coach Belichick's defense do to you.
Boy, it fooled him all night long. No, it didn't. It did
Hold on.
exactly what it did against the Chargers and the
it.
Chiefs. It did
Hold on.
exactly what it did.
That's the same defensive coordinator that stumped Peyton Manning for years. That guy. The guy
That was
beat
back when he had his fastball.
I'm kind of lost because
Did you see your guy in the Super Bowl last year give up 41? How did he do that? How did you give him a pass for that?
I didn't.
That's outrageous.
But I didn't give your guy a pass either.
I feel like you were the guy that I thought believed that Sean McVay could really hurt this Patriots defense.
Yeah, I did.
That's it.
And then he didn't.
But he didn't
Because his quarterback went south on him.
No, because of the guy that it's in that hoodie on the sideline.
Did you
with
see
Tom
what
Brady.
he did all year long? Nothing.
He built.
He built until one game. Yeah, I give you, it was their best defensive game of the year.
And it was Tom Brady's worst defensive game in the last 6 weeks. Would you agree with that?
As much as I don't want to break this up, I don't think we can keep this one going, Greg. Thank you for being here, for joining us. It is time next to hand out some grades. Will Shannon disrespect the GOAT?
Yeah.
We'll see next.
No mercy.
Back to the Super Bowl we go. Tom Brady won his 6th ring last night, but it wasn't easy. For the first time ever, Brady did not throw a touchdown pass in a Super Bowl, but he did lead a game-winning drive in the fourth quarter. He also became the oldest Super Bowl winning QB at 41. So, Shannon, what grade would you give Mr. Tom Brady?
What? Why are you laughing?
Can I guess?
Guess.
D-.
No, I gave him a D+.
Woo! Plus?
No, I just
sure?
I
just nail it?
No, you
I don't
did.
know. I have
Pretty
no
close.
idea. Did I nail it?
I gave him a D. I gave him a D.
A solid D.
A solid D.
Okay. I'll give you that.
I gave him a D.
That is
Skip, I thought he was below average, Skip, and because here's the thing.
That's real below.
Tom Brady is the standard. You're measuring him against himself, against the best Tom Brady. And he was well below that. He threw a pick. He fumbled the ball. He was inaccurate. So I don't really know what you want me to do. You're like, well, that was a fierce defensive front he was going against, or a fierce defense. That's what made him Tom Brady. Not beating Jacksonville, not beating the bottom feeders, is playing in big games and playing big. He was not that yesterday. It's okay. It's okay for historically great players to have an off game. In Game 6, they won the Michael Jordan against, I think, the Supersonics. He was like 6-19. It happens.
Yeah, I was there. I covered that Utah, the last Utah series. Game 5 in the United Center.
Yeah.
He stunk it up at the end of that game.
Yeah, and so it's okay. He was not great yesterday by his standard. And I've said this before, when you are a great player, they don't compare you against great players that's currently playing. They compare you to a younger you. So Tom Brady is compared to the greatness of a young Tom Brady. And he was far from that yesterday, Skip. I couldn't give him anything but that because he was way below the standard in which we're used to seeing. And he was very well protected. Tom Brady was only hit 4 times. Jared Goff was hit 12 times. The Patriots offensive line in the postseason held the Chargers, Chiefs, and Rams to the lowest percent of pressure all year. With that being said, Tom Brady had probably his worst game in the last 6 weeks to 8 weeks that we've seen him play.
Just the last 6 to 8 weeks?
Yes.
But you're saying it's his worst Super Bowl ever?
Oh, yeah, you'd have to. Given the circumstance, Skip, because the first one, I mean, come on.
You said he game managed the first one.
He did.
Right?
But here's
he completed 5 balls in the last game-winning drive.
He did throw a touchdown, and he didn't turn it over. And he didn't fumble. In this game, he turned it over. He didn't throw a touchdown. He fumbled the ball even though he got it back. So with that being said, Skip Bayless, I gave Tom Brady a D. He won. But I thought it was his most poorly played Super Bowl of all 9 that I previously watched Tom Brady play.
Well, silly me, I gave Tom Brady a B+ for last night because I thought it was his greatest challenge, as I predicted to you on Friday, and he pulled off his greatest achievement ever. And I want to also point out he had 4 drops last night. He had a drop by Edelman that we talked about earlier on a 3rd down, and I know he got probably held a little bit by Marcus Peters, and the ball came on him pretty suddenly, but it hit him right in the hands, and it would have been a big 3rd down conversion. Hogan dropped one. Sony Michel dropped one on a little out route that he might still be running with, and it just hit him right in the hands. And then James White on a screen pass. I know Brady had to sort of short arm it in, but it hit him right in the hands, and he could have turned and run with it.
Well, he threw one in the dirt. Which one? What about the one that Tom Brady threw in the dirt?
He threw one to Hogan in the dirt where he couldn't step up.
No, I'm saying he threw one to James White on the screen pass in the dirt, too.
That hit him in the hand.
No, it didn't hit him on the dirt.
I saw one hit him right in the hand.
No, it's turf.
Well, we'll have to agree to disagree on that one because in the end, I hark back to his nemesis, Wade Phillips. And in that AFC Championship game following the 2015 season at Denver, Wade did a number on him just about like last night, except Brady had much better weapons that day. He had Gronk when Gronk was just beasting.
Yes.
And that day, Tom threw 2 interceptions. That day, he got sacked 5 times. That day, Von Miller just terrorized him. But he also had Edelman, who was in his prime by that point. And he also had Amendola. And Danny Amendola was actually more of a clutch receiver to me, a big game, big play clutch receiver, like against Jacksonville in the AFC Championship game last night, than Edelman has been. And on that day, James White hurt Wade Phillips. And last night, Wade Phillips said, "You will not have James White." He would send whichever defensive end out if James broke out into the flat, he would go get tagged.
They stole that from Coach Belichick because if you remember in the first Super Bowl when they played the Rams, every time Marshall fought with Flair, Willie McGinnis would peel off, Brable would peel,
right?
Yes.
And James White caught 1 ball last night for a grand total of 5 yards. So again, degree of difficulty is extraordinary. And he showed you once again on cue why he's the greatest clutch performer ever. And even you agreed last Thursday maybe?
Yeah.
When you were in Atlanta,
yes,
you agreed that he's beyond Michael Jordan as a clutch performer just because he's had so many more opportunities than Mike had.
Because every postseason football game is a Game 7.
Yeah. Okay.
Because you're saying,
and Michael never got to a Game 7 in all of his 6 finals.
Well, you remember though, Skip, in his first final against the Lakers, they lost Game 1. So if that's football, it's over. So now Michael is 5-1. So you see how that. And Tom Brady's played what? 41 Game 7s. Because that's what the postseason is, Skip. There is no, I don't have to beat you 2 out of 3 or 3 out of 5.
Okay.
I beat you once, and it's over.
Okay.
And a fluke here, a helmet catch there.
Okay. So, once again, 6 rings for Tom Brady in 6 game-winning drives in the 4th quarter or overtime. And in a 7th Super Bowl, the first one against Eli, he drove them down with 2 minutes to go, he went 75 yards in 8 plays and hit Randy Moss with a short touchdown pass that put them ahead 14-10. And then you know the rest of the story. The luckiest catch ever canceled that out. Okay? So last night, when you least expected, he'd been stymied for 3 quarters by Wade Phillips. He said, "I've got you now. I'm going to figure out how to drive the ball on you." And the only reason he didn't have a touchdown pass is because Gronk fell at the 2-yard line. If the ball's just a little bit longer, it's going to be a 20, 31-yard touchdown.
Well, he might not have caught it if it was a little longer.
Okay? Well, again, just the route that was run required that throw at that moment.
And plus, the thing is, Skip, he had to bend him inside because he saw Peters coming.
He did.
And he didn't want to run the risk, so he bent him inside. You see how he bent him
Yep.
inside.
Okay.
So that was a great throw.
Okay, thank you. That was the play of the night. It was the longest offensive play of the night by either team. It virtually won the football game, and that was when the stakes were highest, the money was on the table, and he did it again. He went Michael Jordan.
What am I supposed to do about this 25 QBR? I mean, because now he's getting in Bortles and Rosen and Tannehill. He's getting in that territory. A 25 QBR puts him in dead last. What am I supposed to do with that, Skip?
Okay, at that point, it was 3-3.
No, he had a 25 for the entire game.
Okay, I know that, but I'm just saying the score was 3-3 with 9 minutes left when he started doing that.
Yeah.
And with 7 minutes left, they're ahead 10-3. And at that point, you can look back and say the game was virtually over.
Okay, let me ask you a question. So if we're looking at his QBR, Jenny, and it was 25.8, and he went 4 for 4 on that last drive, what was it before that?
I don't really care.
We care about QBR.
I don't care because he went and won the game.
No, we care about QBR.
That's what he does.
That's what we do, Skip. We care about QBR.
This is what Tom Brady does.
No, but I know.
When you least expect it, he just says, "I got this," and he cracked the code. Did he not crack it?
But QBR is so dear to our heart. It means so much to you and I.
The drive of the game was a virtuoso by Tom Brady. That was virtuoso.
The game was a virtuoso by William Stephen Belichick the first.
Really?
Full
Yes.
names. Boy, I think that
Virtuoso.
you guys may disagree on Brady, but let's move on to the other quarterback.
Yeah, let's.
Jared Goff, does he deserve an F for his Super Bowl debut? We got to get his full name. We'll tell you next.
No mercy.
The Rams came into last night's Super Bowl averaging nearly 33 points a game, but they scored just 3 points last night. A lot of eyes are on Jared Goff, and he was sacked 4 times, missed a wide-open Brandon Cooks in the end zone in the third quarter. He also threw a pick late in the fourth quarter when the Rams had a chance to tie the game. So, Shannon, what grade are you going to give Jared Goff?
F.
Really?
F.
An F?
Failure, fizzle, flunky.
Oh, you're a tough grader, man.
F.
Brady gets a D- and the other guy gets a F.
Because this guy was worse than Brady.
You don't like quarterbacks.
No, I like quarterbacks. I like quarterbacks that play well, though. And neither one of these I thought played particularly well. That's just me. First of all, why are you talking again?
I'm just...
I don't need no
Okay, tell us why.
He was awful. Skip, he didn't pick up not one blitz. And when he had time, wasn't often, but when he did have time, he was going to the line. His mind made up where he was going with the football. So therefore, on the end break and the end cuts that they were running that were open, he had already made his mind up, predetermined where he's going to throw the football. He's throwing, guys covered. When you miss 2 guys that were wide open. Bad throws, late to Brandon Cooks in the end zone. You got to make that throw. Brandon Cooks throws his hand up 5 yards off and leaves the line of scrimmage. And because he had already made his mind up, but I will give him credit, he did come back. Maybe Brandon Cooks was his original option, and maybe he was just late getting him the ball.
Maybe.
But you can't have that. And then, Skip, on 3rd down, 12 dropbacks, he was 3 of 10. 3 of 10 with 2 sacks. And you think that's good? And this guy was in, for the first 8, 9 weeks of the season, he was in the MVP conversation with my homeboy and Drew Brees.
Yep.
That's not good enough, Skip. He gives F. F. The game was it. You probably, like I said, in a big moment, you won't get Tom Brady to probably play this bad again. So it was there for the taking. I'm sure Matt Ryan and some of these other, Russell Wilson and some of these other quarterbacks, like, man, I wish I could have got him. He didn't throw any touchdowns. He threw a pick. He fumbled the ball. He was inaccurate as he was last night. What you got, Jared Goff, and you couldn't capitalize on that? Yeah, Skip, he gets an F. Is there something lower than F? What can I give him that's lower than F?
I think that's about it.
Oh, maybe incomplete.
Tom Brady was inaccurate
Didn't
last
finish.
night? Threw for 266 against Wade. I don't know. Back to the grade
What do you
for
think?
Jared
This
Goff.
was not about him. We already gave Brady his grade.
I believe you gave Jared Goff an F because he cost you 2 cases of Diet
That
Mountain
man-
Dew. That's what I believe. I believe you're mad at Jared Goff for going in the tank when you least expected
What
him
grade
to.
you gonna give him?
I'm going to be nicer to him than you are because.
Oh, now all of a sudden you nice?
Well, I'm nice to him because I thought he did some nice things last night.
Or like
I'm gonna
hand your guy a Super Bowl on a silver platter.
Didn't do that.
Yes, he did.
I'm giving him a C. I'm going to give him a C because he did make 2 throws that Brandon Cooks could have caught for touchdowns. He could have. Brandon Cooks is a little guy. He's not a physical guy. I don't know how tough a guy he really is, but he didn't go up and fight for either ball the way he should have because he's not one of those Julio Jones type, Terrell Owens type big, strong receiver. I know. I got it. But again, either one of those is caught. We're having probably a little bit of different conversation. Then Brady would have won it in overtime, but that's, anyway. It would have been different. But the point is, Jared Goff, first time on the Super Bowl stage, I said last week, he is basically, even though he has talent, he is an extension of his coach. He is almost a product of his coach because the face of that franchise is Sean McVay. The charisma and the energy of that franchise emanates from Sean McVay, not from Jared Goff. Jared Goff seems like this nice, laid-back kid. He's a California kid, and he doesn't try to take over the team. He doesn't try to take over the huddle. He's got some.
Well, he definitely didn't take over no game.
Well, I'm just saying, but he's had some nice games this year.
No. We ain't grading him on the season. We grade him for this game.
I am. I'm just saying.
With a 13 QBR?
I'm trying to put him into some perspective. He doesn't have killer in him. And on the biggest stage, when he got thrown the mush rush, and I can't believe they didn't practice against it all week because the Patriots been doing it for 3 playoff games.
What he got in him, Jenny, I can't say on air.
Yeah, okay.
Got a lot of that in him.
Boy, you're down on him.
Bull flitters.
It cost you 2 cases of
Tough.
dew. Poof.
That's what he got.
He also made some nice throws. There are a couple of third down strikes that he threw where I said, wow, that was really good.
Okay, well, so what am I supposed to do with this 13 QBR?
Okay, what you're supposed to do is he got on this stage and he just looked lost for much of the night.
Did.
He looked wide-eyed and vacant-eyed.
Okay.
Because sometimes you just get overwhelmed by this moment because it's a huge moment.
Okay, Skip, that's like you go to college. Okay, you go to college and you get into a class that they're different than what you take in high school.
Yeah.
And you get an F in the class. Okay, you failed. It's okay. It's not. You failed that class. You failed that test. He failed his ultimate test. He failed. Now, it's not to say he won't get a chance to take another test, but there's no guarantee that he will. But he failed this test.
At some point last night, Sean McVay was thinking, if only I could go out there.
Oh, he failed too.
You know, but he wanted to go out there and execute the play for him. That's what he wanted to do. Because he knew what would work, but he couldn't translate it. He couldn't communicate it fast enough to Jared
Well,
Goff.
clearly he didn't know it was working. Because if he knew it was working, he'd call different plays. Because the plays that he was calling wouldn't work. And because he keep telling him, hey, call this play right here and look for the X receiver on the go route or the comeback. Instead of reading it.
I didn't bet 2 cases of dew on the
I don't
Rams.
care nothing about no 2 cases of dew.
I didn't bet on him. You did.
I
So
did.
why did you? You took him. I didn't take him.
Because
I told you on Friday, I said he'll make one late mistake that will cost them, and he did.
I didn't know he was going to be scared.
Scared?
Chicken poop.
Yeah, chicken poop.
Yep, that's what he did, Skip.
Really?
Skip, he laid the egg. You know it.
I do.
And you give
he
him
was
a seat.
overwhelmed by the moment. He also made some good throws. They stayed in the game. They hung in, right?
The objective of playing professional sports is not to stay in the game.
Yeah.
The objective is to win the game.
Thank you.
And he did.
Tom Brady won the game. Thank you. Case closed. Game over.
Coach William Stephen Belichick the first won that game with his virtuoso.
Virtuoso was that drive by Brady. Come on, how can you just call it a virtuoso when you just said that he played like chicken poop?
Hold on, time out. How you get a virtuoso? If your voice is cracked for 5 songs in a row, you nail 1 song, and you think you've given a virtuoso?
Well, it depends what song you name.
I don't care. I do not care. So you know it. I mean, can you imagine you go into the Met and you hear the 3 tenors when they were at their height.
Okay.
And one of them voice is cracking. and then all of a sudden they nail the last song.
That would never happen.
It would.
It would never happen.
Well, the
Sorry, it just
performance
wouldn't
we
happen.
saw last night from Jared Goff probably shouldn't have happened.
Yeah,
either.
yeah.
And I don't know if he's ever going to forget that Patriots defense. It might give him some
You
nightmares.
know
So
it.
let's talk about just how dominant they were. Mark Schlereth is going to help us answer that question next.
No mercy.
Well, last night was all about defense. There were no touchdowns until the fourth quarter, but then Tom Brady led a game-winning touchdown drive once again. The Rams had a chance to answer, but Jared Goff threw a huge interception to Stephon Gilmore late in the fourth. Julian Edelman was the MVP, and Brady won his record 6th ring. We're joined by Fox NFL analyst Mark Schlereth. Good morning. Good to have you with us. So,
Yeah.
Mark, what was your biggest takeaway from this Super Bowl?
Well, it's the same takeaway I think I've taken throughout the playoffs. You know, we have a league in which we are so enamored by young coaches, right? We're so enamored by, we need somebody who can evolve the game. It's all about 3 wide receivers. It's all about spread offenses. It's all about all this baloney. And when push comes to shove, you dominate the line of scrimmage, you win in the National Football League. The New England Patriots went straight back to the 90s. They lined up in 2 backs, full back. They're wham blocking dudes. I mean, it was the way they operated. 2 tight ends a majority of the time. I mean, that's what they did. Little motion to Edelman to make sure he gets a free release off the ball, and let's go out there, run option routes, and cut you up. They run the ball, and they run some pretty simplistic offense. And in this day and age where we sit and talk about all these innovators, you know what it came back down to? Beating people up on the line of scrimmage. And that's exactly what the New England Patriots did. I was just disappointed in the Rams from a game planning standpoint, having done several of their games. They always talk about the illusion of complexity. We want to give you a lot to look at, a lot of motions, jet motions, ghost sweeps and all that. But what we're going to do is we're going to cram it down your throat. 18-19 handoff, wide zone, cutback stuff. And the lack of balance, they were 15-0 this season when they ran it for 20-plus times. They were 0-4 when they didn't. And it just blows me away that you can be in a 3-3 game in the fourth quarter and you can abandon the one thing that you did consistently well throughout the season. That's what didn't make sense to me.
It's interesting.
Go ahead, Skip. I want you to
you
go.
go.
You want me to go?
Yeah.
Yeah. This was all about Coach Belichick. I'm going to say it again. I don't know if you heard me, Mark. William Stephen Belichick I was virtuoso last night. This was probably, you got to go back to what he did against in 1990 as the D coordinator when he was the defensive coordinator for the Giants and what they did to the K-Gun and the Buffalo Bills. In that situation, we said, we got to let Thurman Thomas get his yard because we want them to run it because they throw it all over the place. You know, we don't really have a good chance. Last night, they said, look here, guys, we're going to dominate the line of scrimmage. We're gonna put Stephon Gilmore. You got Brandon Cooks. Wherever he goes, you got him. Now, we're going to give you a break here and there. About 4 or 5 snaps, you're going to get an opportunity to play zone. But other than that, you got him. We're going to double Robert Woods because their tight ends are non-factors. We ain't even worried about them. Reynolds, he'll catch a few balls here and there, but that's it. We're going to stop their run. And what they did, Stinker, I don't know if you noticed it, they went to 4-down linemen, and they played the under front. They walked the backer, either Hightower or Van Noy, put him on the line of scrimmage. Y'all not running. Y'all not running the football. And we're going to come get you. They did nothing. They just got the offensive line on different levels. All they did was ET stunts a few times. They walked, Hightower walking around. He faked like he going to drop in coverage, and here he comes. That's all they did.
Nothing they haven't done against the Chargers and the Chiefs.
That's all they did.
I think one of the things, and this is what was one of the frustrating things, everybody says, it's a boring game. I was fascinated by the game. I was frustrated by the game at times. You're 100% right. The walk-up linebacker and the fact that you sit there and you allow them to pick you in pick stunts. So they walk the linebacker up and they basically are picking somebody and they're looping somebody else around to get inside pressure and you never pick it up. I was absolutely flabbergasted that you can have as good an offensive line as you've had all season long, and they can absolutely dominate the line of scrimmage. And all you're doing, when you're walking up like that, what you're creating is 5 one-on-ones across the board. You're taking guys out of slide, and then the pick stunt aspect of what they were doing, simple picks, they never picked it up. There was constant pressure on Goff the whole night. It was masterful, but the fact that you never adjusted, and Sean McVay came out and said it, man, I got out-coached tonight. And you know what? He's 100% right. He did.
I ain't need him to tell me that.
Yeah. You knew it already?
Yeah.
Now, for my biggest takeaways, takeaway number one, justice prevailed last night because the Rams didn't belong in the game
Man,
anyway.
stop talking about justice prevail.
It did. It prevailed. The football gods got even. The Rams had no business winning that game.
I'm surprised you wasn't at the protest in New Orleans.
Yeah, well, I should have been. I got your back, New Orleans. I still got your back.
Yes, you do.
The other biggest takeaway to me was that the quarterback, Bill Belichick, did not want to play for the Patriots this year, won him a sixth ring this year in that Super Bowl with an amazing playoff run through the Chargers and at the Chiefs, and then last night with a lightning strike drive that won the football game. And on the four key plays of the game, to me, the first one started, as you said, in straight I formation with Brady under center and the fullback in the game, except that Brady faked the ball to Sony Michel on that play. Gronk faked blocking and slipped out, leaked out to the right, and Brady threw a sweet little rainbow to him, and it actually broke the ice. It broke the game open. That went for 18 yards. Then all of a sudden they come out, and they don't try to muscle you out of the trenches. They split Rex Burkhead 3 straight plays out at wide receiver, and I thought that was very clever. That was the most clever strategic device I saw all night, where I sat back and said, what? Rex Burkhead is split out wide 3 straight plays. And on the first play, they went to Edelman over the middle because the middle was uncovered, and he ran his little option route for 13
walked the
yards.
linebacker.
Second play, 2 defenders, I don't know which two they were, 2 corners that looked like the slot.
And snapping the ball, they came and
They
creamed
came
it.
and they just clocked Julian and knocked him down at the line
did.
of scrimmage. And I don't know why I didn't see more of that last night, because Brady was very restricted in his weapons last night. It's broken down Gronk or Edelman, and that's about it. But on that play, Brady says, oh, okay, thank you very much. And he goes to, guess who? Rex Burkhead for 7 yards. So now Marcus Peters is like, what is going on here? And Gronk goes right up the seam, and that was the throw of the night, the play of the night, the longest offensive play by either team, 29 yards down to the 2. And that was the football game right there, those plays right there. And once again, the quarterback that Bill Belichick did not want, he wanted to go, as you well know, with Jimmy Garoppolo.
Yeah.
That could have been Jimmy Garoppolo.
And Jimmy
last
Garoppolo
night.
would have won that Super Bowl last night.
I don't think he would have even gotten them near the Super Bowl
Let me ask you a
last
question.
night.
Stink, let me ask you this. Of the top, let's just say the top 10 quarterbacks in that game last night, of the top 10 quarterbacks, who would have lost that game? With the Patriots defense playing the way they played, what top 10 quarterback loses that game?
Oh, if they were
Wait,
playing
you said it was
for the Patriots,
If they were the quarterback instead of Brady.
Oh, wait. You said it was a virtuoso by Bill Belichick.
That's what
the
it was.
guru, the oracle.
Yes,
right?
that's my point. Skip.
Oh.
Of the top 10 quarterbacks, every last one of them would have won that game last night.
Think about this.
For
you had an opportunity
for the Patriots. If they're the quarterback for the Patriots.
You had an opportunity. I mean, Brady throws the pick, a poorly thrown ball. He had some errant throws last night for Tom Brady, right? So then you miss the field goal. Then you have a strip sack fumble that you recover.
You do.
I mean, you had plenty of opportunity to win that football game. But when it counted the most in that last drive, where Burkhead was split out and they had a corner over there, so automatically you give them the answers to the test. Oh, they're in zone. We're zoning this thing up.
Good for you.
Right. And so
Bully
Brady in the drive that counted, when they needed him the most, man, he made a couple of great throws. That throw, that throw to that block and on the outside release to Gronk, that was a beautiful throw. And then, of course, down the seam to Gronk on the 9 route was beautiful
Sam Backer,
as well.
you're not supposed to let him outside. You keep your outside shoulder free because he might hook.
But he was late getting over there. The backer was late getting over there because they flipped it.
Safety was a little late getting there. Marcus Peters was a little late
Well, but the middle, Marcus Peters is on the corner, and he's on the corner, so that doesn't matter. Right. But you're 100% right. You got to get outside leverage, force him back into your safety. You can't get that release.
Dropped a dime.
All right, Mark.
He did drop a dime.
Thank you for joining us today.
World's greatest
We're
American,
going to stay
by the way.
talking about Tom Brady. What did the win last night do for his legacy? We'll discuss the specifics next.
No mercy.
Let's go back to the Patriots, and more specifically, the Tom Brady. For the first time ever, he did not throw a touchdown pass in a Super Bowl, but he led the perfect drive in the fourth quarter to set up the go-ahead score. Brady also set an NFL record by becoming the only player in NFL history with 6 Super Bowl rings. Skip?
Yes.
Did last night help or hurt the legacy of Tom Brady?
So for the last couple of hours, I've had to sit over here and listen to my man, Shannon Sharpe, tell me how this was Tom Brady's worst Super Bowl performance. that he stunk it up, that he was inaccurate all night long, if I get your point correctly, that any top 10 quarterback would have been either better than Brady for the Patriots or would have beaten Tom Brady if he were playing for the Rams.
No. I'm saying any of the top 10 quarterbacks, had they been quarterbacking for the Patriots, would have won this game.
I think you also said earlier that they would have beaten Tom Brady on that night when he was so bad, that he was so vulnerable and beatable. So, I admit he threw an interception because you forced me to admit that, right? I admit that he did fumble, though they did recover. The Patriots did recover that. And all Tom Brady did in the end, when it really mattered, was pull off his 6th game-winning drive in 6 Super Bowl wins. That's astonishing to me. That should only enhance his legacy. And I'm here to point out to you, he ain't done yet. He made it clear last night. He still wants to play 4 more years. He was happy last night after the game, holding his little girl, because it looks like he's got his family in the right spot. So you say that next year is going to be his last year, correct?
Yep.
And I think it's only just beginning for Thomas, Edward, Patrick, Brady. I think once the smoke clears from this, you'll realize he pulled off the drive to win the game with the throw to broken down Rob Gronkowski. That's what I'm going to remember. That's my takeaway lasting from this game.
Well, he liked to hurt his legacy by kissing Mr. Kraft on the lips. So I will take away from that.
He does that to everybody.
Nah, don't be doing that.
Well, he just
that's supposed
emotional.
That's supposed to be for Giselle only.
Well,
but anyway.
I know several of his friends who say he walks up and kisses him on the lips. It's just, Tom, he's corny.
It's very
he's
European
a little,
of him.
I know. I got it.
But anyway.
It is
For
very
me, Skip, nothing was going to taint Tom Brady's legacy. He's 4 Super Bowls played of any quarterbacks. Now he's 2 clear. For me, win, lose, or draw. Because he owns every single record in the Super Bowl. Most touchdowns, most completion, most yards, yada, yada, yada. I get all that. So for me, Skip, there's nothing that he can do.
But I told you, if you fall to 5 and 4 in Super Bowls, even though you played 9, it doesn't sound nearly as good as 6 and 3.
But Skip, you know, the more you play, I mean, because he started out 3-0, and then the next thing you know, he's 3-2. But you know, the more you play of these things, the greater there's a chance that somebody's going to trip you up. Because all you have to do is be slightly off. Because think about it, if he had played like this against Seattle, they lose. He plays like this against Atlanta, they lose. So even though he had an off day yesterday, he was still able to win.
Wade Phillips wasn't coordinating those defenses. Wade Phillips is his nemesis, man.
But Seattle's defense was formidable back then, Skip. They were.
I don't think they were cerebrally formidable. Like, I think they just lined up and did what they did. They did.
That's what they want to do. So for me, Skip, he's playing with house money now. There's nothing. Yeah. I mean, it's like he's like bringing down the house. I already know. I know the code. I know what's going on. I know the next card that's going to be turned up, and I know I'm going to hit or hold. So for me,
if he had thrown 4 picks last night and they had lost 40-6, that would be a taint on the legacy. No, that would be a scar. You'd say, ugh, what happened there?
But when you talk about he's 4 clear of Super Bowl appearances than any player. 4 clear.
Okay.
And now so that means he would have had where they judge quarterbacks are the only one that Super Bowls really matter, because people just even forgot that, you know, Charles Haley had 5 Super Bowl wins, but he didn't play quarterback, so it's not the same as a quarterback having 5 or 4. So, but for me, Skip Bayless, for me, there's nothing that Tom could have done to hurt his legacy, given all those postseason wins.
But you made the case all day long that it didn't help his legacy, right?
No.
I think it did.
Let me ask you a question. The highest summit on earth is Everest. There's a reason why nobody gets who's the first guy to scale.
It's actually Olympus, if you really, right?
Nobody cares about Olympus. Everybody cares about
it's fictional, but
Everest. Yeah, exactly.
I mean, I got you.
Nobody said who's the first guy to scale Pike Peak, or who's the first guy to scale Mount McKinley.
Edmund Pike.
The first guy to scale what is it, Everest? Is Sir Edmund Hillary.
Yeah.
He's and the Sherpa.
I don't know his name. But once he got there, you're saying he's a made man. You can't do.
You just look.
You've done it. So Brady's there.
You
just looking around like, yeah, I'm up here by myself. So what? Y'all want to knock me down? I lose. So what? Now I'm 6-4.
Yeah, but wait a second. Everybody's waiting for Tom Brady to fall off the cliff. Did he fall off last night?
No.
I say no.
Skip, even if he fell off a cliff, if Tom Brady comes back next year and he throws 15 touchdown passes in 16 games, who cares? Tom Brady's legacy is secure.
You can't deny it. We're watching something special with Tom Brady. And he's made clear this is not the end. He is far from done, but was last night the last game for Rob Gronkowski. We'll discuss his future next.
20 and done.
No mercy.
Time for our final topic of the day. Rob Gronkowski played a big role in last night's win. He finished with 6 catches, including 2 in the game-winning drive in the fourth quarter. There's been a lot of speculation about whether Gronk will retire. And after the game, he said he'll make that decision in the next few weeks. So, Shannon, should Gronk retire?
Not if he still thinks he can play and help a team. Now, Skip, he has $11.9 million cap hit next year. The Patriots can get out with only $2 million of dead money on the cap. What we've seen from Gronk, playing 3 games in 5 weeks, he's a different player. But in football, you play every single week, Skip.
That's true.
So that's going to be the question. Can he play? And whether or not he's going to – see, I believe he's going to probably – if he doesn't retire, he's going to probably have to go elsewhere. I believe he's going to have to play elsewhere other than New England. But that's the question, because retirement in football is final. So he don't make a decision after an emotional win. Don't make it after an emotional loss. Sit back, take a month off, say, Coach Belichick, I'm going to need a month to make this decision. And I ask that you give me that kind of time.
Look, did I see 3 or 4 blasts from the past last night from Gronk? I did. Does Brady still trust him in the biggest moments like he did in overtime at Kansas City or even late in regulation? Yes, he does. Will Tom lobby for him to come back, albeit at a very reduced – you'd have to take way less.
Oh, half.
Because I think he's scheduled to make 9.9. He counts 11.
11, right, correct.
But there's no way he's going to make around $10 million. No. Belichick would say no to that, even though, remember, in the offseason, they clashed over that. So do I think there's a chance he would come back at a very reduced rate here? Maybe. Will Brady push? Yes, he will. But to your point, all the answers from Gronk this week, they all indicated to me he is finished. And I think his body is telling him, as everybody's body finally does, I'm done. Right?
And that's the thing, though, Skip. Can he take the pounding game? See, if he played 1 game a month, miss 1 game a month, play 3 games a month, he might be all right.
Like on that LeBron schedule,
right? Like
that.
No mercy.
Thanks for listening to the Undisputed Podcast. I'm Jenny Taft. Join us again at the same time tomorrow morning, 9:30 Eastern. We'll see you then.
Fox Sports 1 of 1.